Matched down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at instory@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
Rubbish. That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSory. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sory and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, indeed. A child shall lead them, and all that good jazz to buy our merch. All right, guys. I figured I would give people an outlet to ventilate how they feel about the inauguration, or to ask me literally any question that you have to ask me. So this is an Ask Me Anything. And so any question you guys have for brother is on the table. The Fauci pardon has me so mad. Yeah, the Fauci pardon is very, very interesting. I don't understand why he would need a pardon if everything he's ever done has been above board. So that is a question that I have, and I'm pretty frustrated about that as well. I thought anybody who had an issue with Mr. Fauci was a weirdo conspiracy theorist, so I don't know why he would even need something like a presidential pardon in the first place. So that to me is a very, very, very interesting question. Finally, an MA live stream that's not at 2 a.m. when I'm sleepy. You kidding? Fauci should be in jail for crimes against humanity. Well, we'll never know because he's been pardoned. I have some issues with Mr. Fauci. I'm not an expert in the law, so I don't know how. I don't really understand, like what he would be charged with if there was to be a charge. But it's just, I don't know. I mean, if the dude was as flawless as we said he was, as everybody said he was, I don't understand why. I don't understand why he would need a pardon. The other thing is, I didn't know that you could like pre-pardon somebody. I'm not criticizing it. I'm just saying, like, I didn't even know that you could do that. But I mean, I guess, you've got, I don't want to say absolute power when you're the president of the United States, but you got a lot of power when you're the president of the United States. So yeah, but yeah, I thought that pardon. I thought that pardon of Mr. Fauci was extremely curious. I'll just say it that way. I thought the pardon was a very curious pardon by Mr. Biden. So, I mean, it is what it is. But I'm sure there's a lot of people who get pardoned by Trump that people are gonna say are also curious pardons. So, I mean, it is what it is, I guess. The hood rule is anytime somebody gets out of jail, it's a good thing, right? That's the hood rule. You're supposed to celebrate no matter what. So I guess that's good for him that he won't be charged. I don't know if that... The thing that's really interesting to me is, like, getting one pardon doesn't absolve you of all crimes, right? So, like, for example, if you ended up in prison for, like, murder or something like that, and they pardon you for that, and then you go... But you also robbed the bank? Like, does a pardon work that way too? Where, like, yeah, you robbed the bank, but because you got pardoned for murder, that we're also going to apply that pardon to robbing the bank? Is it like an automatic get out of jail free card, or is it just that specific thing that you were charged with? Can you pardon someone before they do something that someone might find illegal? I don't know. To be clear, he was pardoned by Biden in his final hours, not Trump. Right. Yeah. I'd have a very hard time even believing for a moment that Biden, that Trump would pardon Fauci, considering the way that Trump's constituents view Mr. Fauci. He's not their favorite person. So I doubt very highly that Trump would have ever tried to pardon Mr. Fauci. You mean the near 1,500 J6 pardons today? Did he actually do it? Did he do it? Did he pardon all the J6ers? I'm not going to say the name of the person, but we had somebody lined up. He was a heavy metal legend at the time. And we had him lined up to do an interview. And he got jammed up with all that stuff, so we never had the interview. I might hit him up now because we probably might be back in line. It has been done before where there were no charges, but it could go up to SCOTUS. Yeah, I get the feeling that if Trump really has it out for Fauci, that Biden's little pardon's not going to save him. So if Trump really, really wants to do something to dude, I'm assuming that he's going to do something to dude. What's good, Mech? Good to see you, Sister Mech. Yeah, I really think that if Trump really has it in his mind that he's going to go after Fauci and lock him up or whatever, I don't see Biden's whatever you call it pardon being that helpful for him. Trump has a soft spot for fellow felons like the J6 guys. I guess he didn't have a lot of love for fellas of the melanin complexion, but hey, I guess he's got a heart for them felons. Look, you're never gonna see me get mad. about somebody dodging the law. A court alert found Biden incompetent to stand trial over his documents. Trump can get that overturned on those grounds, I think. Yeah, I mean, literally that happened, man. Like, the court looked at everything and they said, we doubt very highly that he had the mental capacity to follow through on this conspiracy, so we're gonna let it go. I mean, okay, whatever. I mean, nobody really believes that any of these politicians and rich people were ever gonna face justice in any way, shape, or form. Anyway, a lot of these things were just formalities. None of us believe that Hunter Biden was going to end up locked up or whatever. Nobody believed that Biden was going to allow that to happen. So, I mean, some of this is just, par for the course. We all know, none of us are surprised, I don't think. Fauci can also catch it in the States. Biden can only pardon federal crimes. Thoughts on the Musk salute? I'm inclined to be charitable and think he didn't intend for it to be that way. Dude is mega autistic. Yeah, supposedly he did a Sieg Heil thing. To be honest with you, I'm a lot more concerned about Elon Musk's proximity to all this American power in such a naked and brazen way, and he hasn't been elected to anything. Him and Vivek are doing the Doge thing, which obviously I think is great, but again, like, we didn't elect you. There was no discussion about what role you would play during the election process. So I'm a lot more worried about why is he around. I would love it if he would go back home now and stop being on calls with Zelensky and all the rest of it. I did not elect you, bro. So I'm not one of these people. I'm not very happy about all this concentration of power with the tech bros. I'm glad that what's his face? That Mr. What's his name? The Facebook guy. I'm glad that he's no longer going to be policing my political channel so that I have to, I have to approve everything and my mods have to approve everything and all the other junk that we had to go through because of how crazy they were being. I'm glad about that. But as far as Elon Musk and Vivek and all these guys having all these powerful positions when they were not elected, I'm not a fan of that at all. So I don't care. I don't care about the hand gesture thing. Like, I don't care about any of the symbolism at all. At all. You know when I stopped caring about symbolism was when Barack Obama got elected. When Barack Obama got elected, I stopped caring about symbolism. So, I don't care about the Sieg Heil thing, if he did it or not, if he meant to do it or not, if he was trolling or not, I don't care. I'm not worried about that. I don't believe that he's a secret Nazi or anything like that. What I'm worried about is, this is a man who's clearly intelligent, clearly knows how to maneuver things, clearly thinks about things before they happen, clearly plays chess while the rest of us are playing checkers, and he is in close proximity to the most powerful person in the world, and he is exerting a lot of influence that he did not earn from the American voter, and I have a significant issue with that. I don't trust him. He wasn't born here. I don't know where his loyalties are. So anybody that's cool with the proximity of this guy to the president shouldn't be. It's great. He did what he had to do. He helped. Whatever. Okay. Go home now. Go home, build a rocket, build some Tesla, whatever. I don't want him around. That's my personal take on Elon. Vivek is looking at running for office in Ohio after an effective exile over his comments on American workers. Listen, I've got a black son, obviously, and he's working with them, and he like, they pay him, and I mean, he's a major part of what they were all doing. And I said, listen, no matter what happens over there with those people, never forget, you are black. And I said, if you forget it, don't worry, they'll remind you. Good old Vivek went out there. He went out there and called them white dudes. He said, y'all are mediocre. He said, you got mediocrity wired into your culture. And the minute that somebody with that hue of skin said that to them white boys, he got exiled immediately. And he went over to, what's her face? I forgot the lady. Ann Coulter. And he was surprised when Ann Coulter said, hell no, I wouldn't vote for you for president. You're an Indian. So it's like, I told my son, I said, you see, don't ever forget who you're dealing with. These Republicans, they'll vote for you or whatever. But at the end of the day, Vivek is an Indian. Ann Coulter ain't gonna vote for you. And when he got too comfortable. I bet you anything, Mr. Vivek, Mr. Free Speech Ramaswamy, I guarantee you he never tells white people again that they're mediocre. I bet you he never says nothing like that ever again to them folks. You can say that to black people, you can say that to women, but you can't talk to white dudes and tell them that they've encouraged a mediocre country, and so because of that, we're gonna get all these other people from other nations to go in and do the job. You gotta understand. You gotta understand who you're dealing with, and these people have never forgotten who you are, and you should not forget who they are. That doesn't mean that you're a perpetual enemy. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that if you get too naive and believe because you have that money that they have, that they're going to treat you the way they treat each other, you're wrong. And Vivek has learned that lesson. Vivek didn't have anybody around him to explain this to him. You know? So I explained all this stuff to my son before he went off to go work for him. And I said, you guys have a mutually beneficial relationship, but do not think for a moment that these people are going to look at you as an equal. Shout out to Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek can say white Americans are mediocre when his country's average IQ is sub 80. Yeah, man. Look, a lot of these dudes were hurt. He was hurt. They were hurt when he said that. You know what I'm saying? So like, he just needs, you know, hey, people are who they are, man. Done with you. I thought I'd check in and see where you're at, but you're mixing logics. Well, good to see you, Deaf Knight, whoever you are. Have a good one. Vivek set sail across the Gulf of America. The Gulf of America. Yep. Vivek lost me long ago talking crazy about black pride and what we're not owed for slavery and Jim Crow. He needs to mind his business. Yeah, but you see, you know, Officer Tatum and the rest of them coons, they're not going to say nothing to him. You see what I'm saying? They're not going to check him on that. So he felt comfortable saying that among these all Republicans, but he got too comfortable with these white folks. When you're visiting somebody's house, you can never get too comfortable, dear listener. And Vivek, they were treating him. They were treating him like he was one of them because he had the money, you see. But you know, he crossed the line, and I think it's going to take him a year or two. It's going to take him a year or two to get back to his spot, but he'll be okay. He'll be okay. Yeah. Vivek, he'll be all right. Can Trump just change the name like that? I would have thought it would have to go through Congress and all that stuff. I mean, I don't understand what the problem is with Trump renaming it the Gulf of America. Like, I don't know what the problem is. I mean, we fit the bill for the majority of the Panama Canal. I don't have a problem with taking it back. Greenland looks like it would be a really strategic get for us, especially when you're thinking about China and Russia. Why we would have a problem with expanding like our country, especially in a bloodless fashion, I don't understand why people have a problem with that. So there's a lot of things like that like people are against. You know, like the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, where I'm like, okay, but why is it bad though? Like, what's problematic about calling it the Gulf of America? Serious question. They're really treating him like a coon, not one of them. He was just too dim to realize. Agree. But a lot of coons really believe that these people respect them. See what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah. Because it's been called the Gulf of Mexico since before America existed. I get it. But, I mean, why would any American have a problem with that, though? Like, how does that indicate that Trump is a bad person or he shouldn't have been voted for because it's now called the Gulf of America instead of the Gulf of Mexico? I mean, like what? I'm being serious. Like, what will it lead to? Like, what bad eventuality will of a necessity come from it being called the Gulf of America instead of Gulf of Mexico? Serious question. Why does America need to put their name on everything like a dog pissing the market's territory? That's a good question. I don't think that's an American thing. I think that's a Trump thing, right? Like, if Trump's giving off the money, he wants to make sure we get the check. If Trump is going to, like, save TikTok, he wants to make sure that TikTok puts a message out there. So that seems to be more like a Trumpian thing versus an American thing. My thing is, I understand why Trump is doing it as the individual. I don't understand why Americans would be upset about it. That's my issue. Like, why is it something where Americans would have a problem? I could see it's like people all over the place going, oh my God, here goes America again. Like, I get that. But like, as an American citizen, why is that problematic? Why is that something we need to shoot a YouTube video over? How does this indicate that he's a fascist, etc., etc.? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of where I'm coming from. Vivek is an American. He's born in the U.S. and doesn't hold another nationality, but y'all treat him as something different. I mean, it depends on who y'all is. I don't have an issue with Vivek either way. I thought he was interesting. I thought I got a couple family members in certain institutions in the U.S. government, and I said, hey, what do you think about, disbanding this and just going with that? He's like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but granted, you're part of that particular organization. So if somebody was asking me about another organization, I'd probably say the same thing. And then he was like, well, then why'd you ask me in the first place? Which is a good question. Yeah. Vivek to me is just a case study in people of color getting too comfortable. You could never get too comfortable. Can we get a salute like Elon? Yeah, I mean, apparently Elon did the Sieg Heil thing. I don't know. He holds another type of loyalty. That drama about foreign workers made it clear. Yeah, I mean, but I mean, what he said about the foreign workers, I mean, that seemed to me to be a very elegant way of simply cost cutting. Once you get to a certain place in a corporation, everything just becomes about cost cutting. And honestly, the humanity of the people that you're talking about is you just not a consideration at all. Not just once, but twice. Holy hell, he did it twice? Benji, send me the video, bro. Send me the video of Elon doing the Sieg Heil thing. But again, I don't care about the Sieg Heil thing as much as I care about the fact that Elon is on calls with our president, with Zelensky, who's in the middle of a war that could potentially metastasize into a nuclear war, in a world war. I don't want somebody I did not elect on that phone call. You know what I'm saying? I'm concerned about that. I'm not concerned about the Sieg Heil thing. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about any of the Sieg Heil stuff. I just don't. Here's my question. Why can't you give Biden any credit for getting the ceasefire done when he wrote it in May and writing the bill is getting it done, period? Yeah, yeah, well, I guess I should give Biden I guess I should give Biden the credit for the peace deal when Netanyahu mocked him openly the very next day, and the guys in the Arab League who have no incentive whatsoever to give Trump credit over Biden, the guy in the Arab League said that Trump's guy was the first time that there was any real pressure on them folks to stop doing that stuff. So I was if you're talking about like war, I was certain that Trump was going to be able to stop the Ukraine-Russia thing almost immediately. I was extremely skeptical. Leah actually asked me, she said, what do you think is going to happen with Israel and whatever? And at the time, I genuinely didn't know. I'm actually shocked that he got that deal done. I would have figured the Russia-Ukraine deal would have got done a lot quicker. So, I mean, you got to take your hats off to the man. It's an objectively amazing accomplishment that if works at any significant, consistent level, to me, warrants the Nobel Peace Prize. Like, without a question. Without a question, if he gets that, if there is 1 month where there's no more Israeli hostility, I believe that Mr. Trump should get the Nobel Peace Prize. And if he doesn't, then nobody deserves to have it. Seriously. I'm not giving Biden credit for anything he didn't want that has no movement until someone else was elected president and sent an envoy. Correct. Today was a great day for America and the world. Well, Death Knight, the reason I don't care about the Sieg Heil thing is because symbolism doesn't mean anything to me. I don't care about that symbolism. I don't care. I don't believe that the Jewish people are in any danger of being put into concentration camps where a bunch of them will be killed. I don't think that's a danger. Whatever Mr. Musk meant with that symbology, he'll have to tell us himself. I'm sure he'll deny that that's what he was doing or whatever. But even if he was a dyed-in-the-wool Nazi, I don't care. I don't care about Nazis. I don't care about Nazism. What I care about are policies. That's all I care about. All I care about is policy. Everything else is distractions to me. Turns out, if you put even a little bit of pressure on the Israelis, they'll bend the knee, which shows how incompetent and weak the Biden admin was. Well, to me, it's about, it's immoral. You can be incompetent, but a moral person will see what was happening to those children and not be able to sleep at night. Like, this is like we have so dehumanized these people. Like, we earmarked the death and destruction of these people. And as somebody who believes in God, look, if Trump never did anything ever again, if he legitimately stopped this bloodletting, then he's given our country another decade at least to exist without getting completely and totally destroyed by the Most High. And I truly believe that. So kudos to Mr. Trump for that. He's earned his presidency already if we can keep that peace. So, Deaf Knight says it happened before because of that exact attitude. No, that's not true, Deaf Knight. What happened in Nazi Germany in the 30s was not that the leader of the country stopped the genocide from happening, which is what Mr. Trump just did. So the fact here's my problem. Here's my problem, Deaf Knight, with people who focus on symbolism. Okay, I'm just going to be real with you. Let's say that Elon Musk is a dyed-in-the-wool actual Nazi, right? Now, if I ask Biden, how do you feel about Elon Musk being a Nazi? Biden would probably say, oh, this is terrible, this is horrible, we told you about fascism, blah, 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 1938, blah, 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 all right? But here's the problem. If you were a Palestinian, who would you prefer? Trump with the friend with the Nazi thing, or Biden who would never do the Nazi thing? See, this is what happens, is that neoliberal Democrat-run media wants us to get crazy about symbolism and ignore policy. Mr. Biden enacted Nazi policies against the Palestinians. So I'm more worried about the actual Nazi policy, where we started holocausting a bunch of human beings created in the image and likeness of God. I care about the fact that I participated in that. I don't give a fuck about a salute or imagery or symbolism. Symbolism never killed anyone. Bombs kill people, and my country sent billions of dollars of bombs and bullets to those Palestinian children who could not defend themselves. So I don't care about symbolism. That's why I don't care. I don't care. Deaf Knight. I'm not saying that you're dumb for caring. I'm saying I don't care. I'm saying I don't care about symbolism. I don't care about none of that. I care about policy. Furthermore, we're not even going to talk about the fact that Mr. Biden was also, on top of funding Nazis in Israel, he was funding literal Nazis in Ukraine. We brought people over from Ukraine into Canada, honored them, they were Nazis. We brought a bunch of people from Ukraine at Disney World, honored them, they were Nazis. Stop with this. That's over with. That was all 2016. Nobody cares about the symbolism anymore. Yeah, I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore it for sure. I don't care. I care about the kids that were getting blown to smithereens by your people. I care about those people. You seem more upset about the symbolism instead of the fact that one group was sending money to the bullies to kill people. I will give Trump the credit, but with him, everything has got a price. So I wonder what the price of the ceasefire will be from now. I'm happy that the killing has stopped, but the story is not over yet. Well, Trump is not the only person on the planet, Leah, wherein everything comes with a price. Everything comes with a price. The Brits just as recently as 2019 stopped paying us back for our assistance of them in World War II. So everybody does everything for a reason. My thing is, I don't care. I don't care what the price was, because there's nothing more expensive than the blood of a child to me. So that's what's important to me. But I see what you're saying, and that's why I keep saying if. As I said, like, if it even lasts for a month, right? Then give the man the Nobel Prize. I'm also very skeptical about the ability to maintain peace, or the ability to hold the Israelis accountable should they violate the terms. I'm very skeptical about that, and that's why I keep saying if. But if he is successful in any significant, consistent way, then absolutely, I'm with it. I don't care about symbolism either. People will take virtue signaling mass murderers over an acceptable world to live in. Exactly. And people just have to understand, being concerned about symbolism is an act of privilege. That's a privilege. And I'm not one of these people that feels you need to be guilty for your privilege. A privilege is a blessing, but it's a privilege to worry about symbolism. I promise you, nobody in Palestine right now is worried about Elon Musk and his symbolism. I'm not worried about it. Children die in every war. War isn't the way it never has been. I agree, Deaf Knight, but one person stopped it and another person perpetuated it. That's the difference. That's just it. Ein Volk, ein Reich, and ein Führer. I don't know what that means. Something about the Führer, something about Hitler, something. Yeah, and ask me anything if COVID jab was a vax. Why did Fauci need a pardon? Yeah. If the COVID jab was a vax, why would he need a pardon? Probably because of the whole gain of function thing that he lied about and said he wasn't participating in gain of function research when we all know that he was. Here's my question. Would you rather be a privileged symbol of peace or a hated symbol of hope? Exactly. I would rather be a hated symbol of hope than a privileged symbol of peace. What gets me about right-wingers is they complain about Biden sending millions in aid to Ukraine because of the inflation in the economy, and yet they support Biden sending billions to Israel. If they cared about the economy, then why aren't they consistent with Israel? Well, I will say that Tucker and Candace Owens type conservatives were also not fans of sending all those billions to Israel. So I will give them that. It was a Nazi saying, one nation, one people, one leader. Okay. Well, I don't think that that's bad, right? You got one nation, like we're all one leader. That's good. And one people. What's the problem? No, Vin, they changed the definition of gain of function like they changed the definition of vaccines. Yeah, anybody who now says all the people that were like, and by the way, if you, I don't lie about this stuff. Go back and look at all my old stuff during the COVID era. I was not pro Fauci, but I was oh man, you guys are conspiracy theorists, blah 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 blah. So I'm not one of these people that's like a conspiracy theorist relative to Fauci, but the facts are there, and he was absolutely a participant in gain of function research. Among all the other horrible things he did to people afflicted with AIDS in the LGBT community during the AIDS crisis. But he obviously has something to hide. Did you see the video Trump posted about Bibi on Truth Social? No, I should be on Truth Social, and I always say that, and I never do. But yeah, I need to get on Truth Social. But no, I haven't. What did he say? Can you get me the link? Somebody get me the link. Do you really think Palestine and Israel is over? Blah ha ha. Well, I don't know if you were around during the Jenin massacre when the Israelis massacred all those Palestinians in Jenin. I know that the war isn't over, but the children of Palestine are going to be able to get some respite. I know it's easy, Mr. Knight, whoever you are, for you, but these people have been getting starved out, dying of thirst, and other horrible diseases that comes with siege warfare. And so I'm happy about that. You apparently, you're more broken up about Elon Musk. You're more broken up about Elon Musk and what he did apparently, but you don't seem very broken up about all them dead Palestinian kids. You and I just have different priorities. You know what I'm saying? But if your guys' strategy is to resurrect the Trump as a Nazi thing again, I'm sorry, but all the Ukraine stuff kind of desensitized everybody to the Nazi stuff. Because you guys had literal guys that had swastikas and shit on their patches going to war. So that doesn't really affect me that much. Did you see Trump saying that Spain was a BRICS country? What, Spain? Spain is a BRICS country? Def, it's okay. You have your opinion, I have my opinion. You're worried about symbolism, I'm worried about dead children. We just have different priorities. It's okay. I'm glad that you're here, though. America's honor and pride as a nation comes for standing up to fascism, not embracing it. I don't know about that that's where America's honor came from. You can be broken about both. Well, I'm not broken about both. I'm not. What I have seen our country do is use the symbolism of what Hitler or Nazis are supposed to represent. I've seen manipulative people in our country use that imagery and that symbolism to accomplish certain political. I'm not going to be broken about symbolism. I'm never going to be broken about symbolism. I do not care. I do not care. And honestly, the Hitler as boogeyman thing, and we're going to call Trump and all of his supporters fascists and boogeyman. I don't know if you guys realize this. Nobody cares anymore, bruh. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. The man won the popular vote. Okay? He converted, he flipped 40% of California. I think I got a number somewhere that he had like 40% of California. So all the stuff about the symbolism and Nazi and Hitler and all that stuff. If you got people that are trying to play that playbook, man, it ain't gonna work in 2024. I'm not broken about symbolism at all. They try to use it to give us a fake black president, promising to genocide. Exactly, promising to genocide in multiple places. Yes, exactly. Why did Trump campaign on draining the swamp, then appoint the richest cabinet of Americans in history and dine with the 3 richest people in America? Probably because Mr. Trump is a billionaire and those are the people that he's comfortable around and it's all he knows. But I don't believe that Mr. Trump's contribution to the world is about completely and totally draining the swamp. Nor do I believe that Mr. Trump is the Messiah. I don't believe he's Hitler, and I also don't believe that he's Jesus. I believe he's a sinful person, just like the rest of us, that he's been given power that he will no doubt abuse, just like all the rest of us will. But I also believe that there's some good that could be done, evidenced by the fact that the Israelis have at least a little bit now to stop bombing Palestinians. And considering that it was all my leftist friends that were literally crying over the dead Palestinians, I'm extremely shocked that y'all ain't overjoyed and dancing in the streets at the prospect that got stopped. It's almost as if you guys didn't really give a fuck about them Palestinian kids, and what you really care about is the fact that Trump got some sort of a win before he got signed in. That's what it looks like to me. Or it looks like the fact that your way of reconciling your cognitive dissonance and voting for a party that was continuing a genocide was that the other party was going to continue the genocide too, and now that the other party stopped it before he even got sworn in, you're left holding the bag supporting a genocidal maniac, which would make you the bad guy, and you don't want to deal with that because you've been judging this other group as a bad guy the entire time. So now you have to minimize the greatness of what happened because it leaves you holding the moral bag, and you've been judging Trump and his supporters for the last 8 years, so you can't do that. That's what it looks like to me. So if Trump can pardon 1,500 J6ers, can the next president, if he's a Democrat, pardon all the illegal immigrants that are imprisoned? Well, sure. I mean, listen, I would pardon every illegal immigrant if we could get Fauci on trial, because I think Fauci's probably got more bodies than all the rest of these people combined. But yeah, they can do that. I understand why Mr. Biden pardoned his son, but considering Biden was the main progenitor of the crime bill, it is seriously ironic, I will say that. He didn't just dine with any billionaire, he dined with the billionaires that control everything we see and hear. You don't see him during the dining with the owners of Walmart or whatever. Well, yeah, I mean, again, that makes sense to me. If I became the president somehow, I wouldn't be having dinner with those people. I'd be having dinner with y'all because we frequent the same circles. I don't see what the like Trump does stuff that everybody does, but when he does it, all of a sudden there's a problem. Now, as I said, I don't like Elon or Vivek's proximity to power when they were not elected. And I think that Americans should have a serious problem with it. And the fact that Republicans don't have a serious problem with it or are not articulating a serious problem, to me, is a hole in our security. Because even if Trump knows how to navigate all that, the next guy may not. And so I think that there should be a real serious backlash from the right about Mr. Musk's proximity to power and how open he is about it. We've all known, especially everybody who's like politically sound, we've all known that billionaires have been influencing our government from the get-go. That's not new. What's new is being so out and open about it to the point where he's got some sort of weirdo position in our government. I think that that's extremely, extremely concerning. I'm not saying it's a I'm saying it's a problem. I'm saying it has a purpose. I agree it has a purpose. Trump has his purposes for America and personally, and all those people have their own purposes. And if any of us believes that Elon or Bezos or Zuckerberg, if any of them believes that they're doing what they're doing because they wanted to rescue free speech, is crazy. It's crazy to think that. Okay? Look, the entire premise of capitalism is that you're going to capitalize on whatever to push forward your agenda. I don't think they're horrible people for that, but it leaves us open and vulnerable if you embrace that and give them extra power that they have not earned through the electorate. And the fact that nobody on the right even seems concerned is a real problem for me. It's a real problem for me. Biden pardoned because Trump will go on a retribution binge. He is the most litigious person before he became president. He enjoys ruining people's lives through courts. Biden did the right thing. Well, DVK, I disagree with that. Well, I don't disagree completely, DVK. I do... Look, can we be real? The Democratic Party, I'm not saying leftist, but the Democratic Party has used the DOJ as a means by which they're going to interfere with the election of President Trump. They did it the first 4 years of his presidency with the Russiagate nonsense, and nobody got held accountable, and it was all a lie. But they did it because they laughed at the prospect of him being the president. They didn't think it could happen, which tells me he's legitimately an outsider. And when it actually did happen, you had a bunch of people before this man was sworn in saying, we're not going to let this happen. And I don't give a fuck if it's a Republican, a Democrat, an independent. You cannot have unelected leaders or you cannot have some people in the government undoing the will of the people through litigious means. Russiagate was a complete and total farce, and it was only there to correct the mistake of Trump being elected. That's a fact. It's a fact. And then they try to use the DOJ to make it so that he would never be able to run again. I thought it was so crazy listening to all these people after Trump got elected talking about, Merrick Garland, you're terrible, blah, 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 blah. This man won the popular vote. And all I heard from my leftist friends and my Democratic friends was how horrible Merrick Garland was for not locking this man up, which tells me you didn't even want him. You didn't even want the people to be able to decide for themselves who they wanted as president. And to me, that's completely unacceptable. For them to do that and then talk about democracy was crazy to me. It was crazy. Def says, I'll pray for you. Peace and love, brother. Yeah, that's right. I got nothing but peace and love for you too, baby. Pray for me. I might be crazy. You've blinded yourself to the thing you claim you're against because an evil man made you promises as if he's going to keep them. Def, I don't know how you could possibly say that about me. What promises has Mr. Trump made to me? What promises did Trump get up there and say to black people? What are you talking about? I am happy that Palestinian children had a reason to sing a couple days ago. I am happy that I saw a Palestinian mother bowing to the ground, thanking God because there were going to be bread trucks that could deliver her food without her children getting shot in the back of the head. That's what I'm happy about. I don't care what Elon Musk did. I don't give a fuck. I care about Abdul Rahman and his mother. That's what I care about. They were begging for pardons because they know they engaged in conspiracy, corruption, and more shit. They obviously did. They obviously did. Russiagate, dear listener, Russiagate was a conspiracy theory that we spent millions of dollars on while this man was trying to run the country and ostensibly the world. People are like, why are you still talking about Russiagate? Because it affected me. He can't govern the way he's supposed to govern because he's caught up in all this nonsense. Because members of our government, the same people who took Bernie Sanders from us, dear listener, the same people that robbed us of Bernie, were saying all these dumb Americans are too stupid to figure out that they should have put Hillary in there. So we're going to make it so that there's a legal reason that he can't be the president. You literally had people in the Mueller report saying we will not let him be the president. That's what I care about. Good man. Ugh. What do you think of Trump not putting his hand on the Bible when he swore into office? I don't care. You know, my mom, she had court one time. They told her to swear in the Bible, and she said, the Lord Jesus said, don't swear in anything, either by heaven because it's a Lord's house, or by the temple because it's the city of the great king. Just let your yes be yes and your no be no. So my mom would never raise her hand and swear on any Bible over anything. So this is one of the things that gets me about folks. Dear listener, we are thousands of miles away from each other. We barely know why we do things. How in the hell do we think we know so deeply the inner machinations of what's going on with somebody else? This is again, symbology. I don't care if he puts his hand on the Bible. There's nothing in the Bible that says you have to put your hand on the Bible. Right? It doesn't say that. I mean, shit. I would probably not do it just to troll people. Literally, I would. That's just symbolism, guys. That's just symbolism. That's all. Do you agree with the decision to remove birthright citizenship? No, I do not. You do realize that Bernie thinks Trump is the greatest danger to America. No, I realize that Bernie said that because he had to say that because he submits to the Democratic Party. Keep in mind, Bernie is the same individual who, after the DNC took him from us, then went around to stump for Hillary Clinton. Then after that, went around to stump for Biden. He told us to vote for Joe Biden. When he'd been around and he saw backstage that Biden wasn't all the way there, he told us to do that. So I don't care what Bernie says. I don't care what Bernie says. Your anger about Palestine is admirable, but this, you're here? What are you talking about? Aren't you angry about what happened to the Palestinian kids? Didn't that bother you? Didn't it hurt you that all the moms had to go and identify their kids by picking up their arms and saying, oh yeah, I remember when he got the scar here, and all that's left is the kid's arm? Didn't that bother you? What were you looking at? It bothered me a lot. I saw the little 7-year-old girl telling her 5-year-old brother to stop crying because they want to see you cry. Don't cry, be strong. Yeah, that got me real angry, bro. That really got me in my feelings. It really did. As you can see, I'm not over it. But the symbology, I don't care. I don't care about the symbology. Thoughts on sending the military to the southern border? I don't know why that would be necessary. I think ICE ICE is not in a situation where they need auxiliary support. At this point, it looks to me like Trump is using the it's the same logic, I think, with the tariffs, that he's playing chicken and he's saying, go test me and see if I won't do something. I'm sure it's what happened when he was on the phone with Bibi. I think what he's saying is, y'all can make this smooth or you can make it unsmooth. And it's a peace through strength strategy, and we'll just have to see how it works out. Right? We'll just have to see how it works out. I got called a fool for refusing to vote for Harris because of her stance on Palestine. Lost another friendship of over a decade. She said Trump would do worse. Guess she was wrong. See, this is I got a real problem. I got a real problem with that, because I also had people in this room saying, well, what do you think Trump's going to do with Israel? And it turned out that Trump was way better on Israel than any of us even thought. And instead of us saying, you know what, I was wrong there, we're just going to stay with our ego and let our egos cost ourselves a friendship. People who thought that there was going to be an equivalency between the way Biden handled Israel and Trump handled Israel were deathly wrong. And you should be happy that you were wrong. You should be overjoyed. If your concern was about the human cost of what was being done to those people, then you should be over the fucking moon. But they're not. And that's very confusing to me. Very confusing to me. If Trump was such a great businessman like he brags, why has he gone bankrupt 6 times? If he's so rich, why is he hawking Trump guitars and crypto, etc.? He's like a child, a baby, vindictive, and he's got ugly character. Well, he's the president of the United States of America, and so I'm not going to disrespect my leader. The scripture said, you shall not speak evil of a ruler of your people. From a biblical perspective, God placed Mr. Trump in office, and as such, I'm going to respect him. Now, I don't know how I would react if I had all the power and money that Mr. Trump has access to. I don't know how I'd react. I know how I would like to think I would react, but I don't know. So, I'm not going to say much about Mr. Trump's character. The point is, that man is a president of the United States of America. His job is to fix the economy and to protect us against enemies, foreign and domestic, and to protect the world from us as well. So that's how I'm going to judge Donald J. Trump, the president. How did you do with the economy? How did you do with defending America? And how did you do with defending other people against American aggression? That's all I'm judging him on. All the other stuff, other people can judge him on. Cool. That's fine. And I'm not saying it's not important. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm just saying, for me, those are the topics I care about. That's what I care about. People kept on swearing Trump was lying about wanting peace, but ignored Biden and Harris swearing death on everyone in the Middle East. Correct. Harris was begged to at least pretend to fight for a ceasefire, and she kept repeating the Israel BS about the hostages and unconditional support for Israeli military efforts. And she sent Bill Clinton down to Michigan to tell those people in Michigan that the reason that those Israelis were putting sniper rounds in the back of those Palestinian kids' heads was because of Hamas. Good night. Do you think he's protecting us by deporting immigrants? Well, he's not deporting immigrants. I'm an immigrant myself. I was born in Jamaica. What we're talking about are people who came into this country illegally. Now, if you know my policy is an open border. Because I'm a Christian and that's what the Bible says. The problem is there are some severe practical ramifications to my open border policy, and I'll tell you right now, I don't have a solve for it. I cannot blame people who say, These people are some of them are committing crimes, and they are. I mean, that's just a fact. Some of them are taking the they're operating with government funds that could go to American citizens. That's a fact. If you ask me to vote, I'm going to vote to let them in because that's what the Bible says. I can't find a biblical reason to not let them in. That's me. But as far as if I didn't have the Bible, of course, because you only have X amount of resources, X amount of land, etc., etc., etc. Right? So I don't think the immigration thing is complex. I think the immigration thing is I don't think the immigration solve is a simple solve. I think it's a really complex solve. I think I look at immigration the same way I look at gun control, which is to say, if I could snap my fingers tomorrow and kill the Second Amendment, if I thought that would save us from all this gun violence, then I would do it. But obviously, we know that that's not going to solve the problem. The most I can say is, well, it's a mental health issue. But even if you say it's a mental health issue, our right-wing friends will not socialize at least mental health care. Probably the solution is stop making places like Mexico, Venezuela, etc. such a hellscape that people have to risk their lives and the lives of their children to come over here. But that's as much as I can give, and who knows how long that would take. So I have no solution for the immigration policy at all. I understand the Republican argument. I also understand that the Remain in Mexico deal was a good deal, and Biden immediately came and upended that because Trump initiated it. And then what he did was he opened the floodgates so much that he converted people like Anna Kasparian and others to say, holy shit, this is too much. That's one of the lessons that I really wish that some of my blue inclined friends would think through. You guys swing the pendulum so far that the backlash is going to be, and it's as if people don't think through backlash. It's like, oh, the House just passed this anti-trans bill in sports. What did you think was going to happen? So, yeah, like I'm for biblical borders, metal enthusiast. I definitely understand why you would be scared for your family, for sure. I completely get that. You have every right to be, and your friends. I don't know what the solve is at all. I don't know what the solve is. What do you think about Trump declaring the cartels as terrorists? Oh, well, I mean, they are terrorists. I've had explained to people that, the whole ISIS thing where they'll chop your head off on TV. When I was sitting down in training, we didn't watch a lot of ISIS videos. We watched the cartel videos because the cartels were the guys that originally did that shit. The cartel, see, the Islamic terrorism was, we're going to hijack your plane, we're going to blow up your plane. That was the main thing. They did not take people and chop their heads off on camera. That was the cartel. The ISIS folks, because they had some converts from Mexican, this is real, they had some converts from some Mexican gangs, because there's a lot of, people don't understand that connection, but there are. And that's where they got the idea and started doing all that shit. So yeah, the cartel are absolutely terrorists. They're absolutely terrorists. And there's absolutely a spiritual and a religious component to it. That's just a fact. It's a fact. So that's my take on the cartels. They're absolutely terrorists, and I would come out of retirement to hurt those people. God forgive me. A start for making Mexico less of a hellscape is what Trump has proposed, which is using our superior military to help the Mexicans fight the cartels and take back their country. It's true. It's true. And the problem is, 85% of their government is on some payroll from the cartel, so it's not like they've been trying. But see, if you train them up, and then if you send a contingent, if you send an expeditionary team down there, and you train them up and all that shit, they're gonna have less excuses. We've cross-trained. I know for a fact we've cross-trained with their paramilitary force as well as their police over and over and over again. There's a lack of will, and quite frankly, there's been a lack of will on both sides to solve this problem. So if Trump is really, really, really serious, if we're really, truly serious about it, we will commit some boots on the ground to dealing with the cartel. But the cartel is willing to do shit that other people are not, and so you need to understand what that means. We will absolutely defeat them, but they share a border with Texas, and they share a border with California, among other things, and they can get really, really, really nasty. So people need to understand when you're talking about lighting it up with the cartel, it's not the same thing as Al-Qaeda and all the rest of this shit. These people share a border with us, and they have operatives in this country because somebody let them all in last 4 years. So it's not good. Blue swings the pendulum too far, and then Republicans do Nazi stuff like banning trans participation in society. Also, they're not Nazis, it's just symbolism. Okay, Vin. Yeah, see, that's the problem, Ben. That's the problem. To say that a biological male cannot compete against biological females, and then trying to tie that to Nazism is where you guys just completely failed. And it's the reason why the term Nazi means nothing. And it's the reason why anytime the term Hitler gets brought up now, everybody just rolls their eyes. You guys use that for everything, and now it means nothing. That's why. Since the cartels are declared as terrorists, that gives Trump a way to send soldiers in Mexico, and Mexico doesn't want our soldiers in their country. I understand that Mexico doesn't want our soldiers in their country. But I don't want their terrorists in mind. And the Mexicans have not declared all-out war on these people. And so that's not my concern. My concern is I don't want to turn on the news and hear about any Americans being killed by those folks, bro. That's my concern. I'm not worried about whether or not they want our soldiers in our country. I promise you, if Mexico was an island 3,000 miles away from the American mainland, we wouldn't be talking about it. I promise you that. So we will invade Mexico then. Well, I don't think it's an invasion. I don't think you can call it an invasion. Because if you use that term invasion, right, so then are the Republicans right in calling what happened over the last 4 years as an invasion? Because we had 11 million people come in here. So was that an invasion? Did they invade our country? Because I promise you, we're not going to send 11 million soldiers over there, right? We're not going to send 11 million soldiers over there. But they did send 11 million people over here, right? So is that an invasion? So I don't think that term is helpful for the purposes of these discussions. I don't think boots on the ground would defeat cartels, Vid. You can't touch them without invading Mexico. You will kill civilians and create martyrs as the failing tag. I completely disagree with you. The thought structure around them are completely different from the thought structure around Islamic militants. People who die in a cartel war in Mexico are not looked upon as shaheed or martyrs or anything like that. And my other thing is what is the solution? The cartel is already a paramilitary outfit. I mean, they literally train just like Al-Qaeda and the rest of those people train people. So just because their aims are monetary and not religious doesn't mean we should look at them as anything different from Al-Qaeda and all the rest of it. Hitler ran a campaign against minorities, against immigrants, claiming they were stealing jobs and tax dollars, claiming they were poisoning the blood of the country, exactly the same as Trump. Okay. Collins lost. How many billions of dollars did Trump give to a country that was currently genociding a group of people? I'm not saying that you guys don't have the right to be concerned about Trump and any correlations to Hitler. But what I'm saying is, if you're so concerned about Hitler, why are you guys not talking about the billions of dollars that the previous administration gave to fund the murder of Palestinian children? This is the reason why the Hitler stuff, everybody's rolling their eyes now. Because we literally have people literally dying. We literally sent billions of dollars to kill those kids. So why are you talking to me about what he said? I'm talking about what we did. What our tax dollars actually did. I'm not talking about what was said or what was tweeted. There's going to be war. Just wait. Morbid Angel. There's been a war in Ukraine and Russia that started under the Biden administration. I don't know if you know, there's a war in the Middle East right now that started in the Biden administration. Actually, that war just got temporarily ended because another administration came in. That's what I don't understand, guys. I'm trying to see where y'all are coming from, but I got one person talking to me about what he said and what he tweeted, and we're ignoring the fact that the other guy didn't put any tweets out but sent billions of dollars to murderers of children. Please deal with that directly. You're wrong. When American boots kill Mexican borns, who do you think they will run to? The government? No. They're not going to run to anything because the cartel is already killing a bunch of Mexican-born people. So the reaction structure is a completely different one than you would see in an Islamic world. I mean, what? Let me ask you this question: what do regular Mexican civilians do when the cartel kills them and then hangs them up on the in the town square upside down for everybody to see over the bridge? Happens almost every day in certain places. Who do the civilians run to? Serious question. If Mexican civilians decide they prefer the cartel, then that's all the more reason for mass deportations. Yeah, see, the thing that gets me is that the people complaining about the deportation is, I've already given you guys my position on it. I'm not hearing any solutions. So it's like, you don't want deportation, and we shouldn't go in there to fuck up the cartels, so we just basically keep everything as it is? Do you think that that's sustainable? We just keep... So for another 11 million people should come over the border for the next 4 years? It's a serious question. Because I'm saying hard stuff, but say back to me what you guys would do. We tried this hundreds of times. Who do you think created the Sinaloa cartel? It's not completely true to say that we created the cartel. No, we have not tried this hundreds of times. We have not tried this. When have we tried this hundreds of times? We sent Delta in the 80s. We had Manuel Noriega. He's gone. All them leaders over there that seemed completely Escobar. All them dudes. We didn't even send the full military over there. We sent the Rangers and 1SF DOD, and we took care of them pretty quickly, right? That worked pretty swimmingly for us. So Grenada, same thing. Kurt Moose, same thing. So what are you talking about? When did we try it hundreds of times with that particular set of people and did not have success with it? Serious question. Then you're looking at it as if the Mexicans are looking at Americans as friends. You're bugging if you think our military in your country won't push them to cartels. Well, as I said, we did it in Grenada. The people worked with us. I don't think they have to like us. They just have to know that if they get rid of the cartels, then it'll be less likely that their daughter gets raped and murdered on the side of the street. I don't believe that the Mexicans are going to look at us as liberators. I think your average Mexican civilian is absolutely terrified of the cartel. They're terrified of the government because they view the government as working for the cartel. And they're terrified of us because they rightly understand that we will kill people in bunches. So I'm not looking to the cartels to do... I'm not looking for the Mexican civilians to look at us as saviors. I don't think that that's the case. I think they would look at us for exactly what we are. But like I said, We can look back into the 80s and see what happened. We did it in Grenada. We chased Manuel Noriega everywhere. We chased Escobar everywhere. He had a giant operation, and he was more ruthless. I mean, the Sinaloa guys got their ideas from him. So this has happened already. That you're not understanding me. What I'm saying is, if the cartels believe that they're going to have to go up against the United States military, they're going to change their tactics. We've seen this already. Nobody believes that we're going to stop all crime and end all crime, but what we do have is a deterrent based on their value structure. The value structure of an Islamic terrorist is ideological and not material. The value structure of a cartel operative is material before it's ideological. And that's the reason these guys change teams so much, and that's the reason why they operate with governments and don't operate with governments and betray each other and doing all the other stuff. So the value structure is different. Neither Obama nor Biden had any will to temper any of their drug, human, or labor trafficking, and allowed them to get immeasurably more powerful. That's correct. And again, I just have to say, okay, we're not going to go in there and fuck with the cartels. We're not going to deport illegal. So what are we going to do then? What are we going to do over the next 4 years to solve this problem with the crisis at the border? See, that's my thing. It's like, what are the solutions then? Give me a counter solution that would actually work. Just got here. Who do you support? I support humanity. I support human beings. I support the Lord Jesus Christ. That's who I support. I'll tell you what, if Mexico says they don't want America to invade and we still invade, I will 100% side with Mexico and treat it as another Vietnam. Well, that's ridiculous. They're completely different. Now you were saying threats. Earlier you said boots on the ground. My arguing wasn't on change of tactics. I'm not debating using mental games. I don't know what you're saying. Well, I didn't know you were for deporting him. What do you mean by threats? I do think that they would interpret Americans loading up and saying we're going to take out our cartel as a threat. I do believe that. I also believe that I know that the average Mexican civilian is terrified every day, and they're not terrified about us. They're terrified about the cartel. I also believe that if the cartel really thought that we were going to go and get busy with them, that you would see a rise in a lot of forced conscription into the military. But I'm not hearing solutions from anybody else. Like, what's the solution? If we could take the cartels out of business, if we could significantly hurt the cartels over there, then I think that a lot less people would be going from Mexico to America, don't you? ERS versus IRS, who wins? I really believe that it doesn't matter, because if you have a certain amount of money, there's ways around everything, and if you're not familiar with the codes and how to get around those codes, you're going to end up paying more. And so I just think that it's a squeeze the balloon type of game. Rich people are always going to find ways to keep more of their money back, and poor people are never going to have the ability to stand up to the government when the government takes from them. So to me, it's kind of like I don't know. Yeah, to compare that to Vietnam is crazy, right? Like, again, we did not share a border with Vietnam. Stop it. The Vietnamese had done no material harm to us. This is costing us actual material harm. And I don't know what people are saying. Are we saying we should just let the cartels continue to make it a hellscape for those people so that we would perpetually have this problem where people are jumping over the border? Does anybody have a solution for why this continues to happen? As I said, I believe in biblical borders, which means they're all open borders, okay? But we all know that that's not practical and it's not going to work, and I'm the only one that would vote for it. So if we're not going to do biblical borders, how are we going to figure out how to balance this out so that we don't have 11 million people every 4 years coming in here, and we don't have the ability to have our capital catch up with the need, the human cost? Cartels exist because of their material conditions. Mexico is a relatively poor country with a few wealth pockets, and they want to control those pockets and the flow of capital. Then cartels happen for the same reason everything happens, which is human nature. You know, we're not going to blame all these other things on why people make cartels. Stop. People want power, people want money, and the cartel gives you power and money, full stop. Favorite apostle, favorite Bible verse, favorite depiction of Jesus. Have you ever done Exodus 90? Favorite apostle would probably have to be John or Paul. I think I like Paul more than John because my attitude is more Paul than John. So that's my favorite apostle. Favorite Bible verse. Favorite Bible verse. This is eternal life that they may know God and Jesus Christ whom you have sent. In John chapter 17. Now this is eternal life that they may know you, the only true God, and Jesus Christ whom you have sent. Yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite. I don't think open borders would work in a competitive capitalist system. I think we can get to open borders, but we'd have to end capitalism first. Good luck with that. How about your 8th favorite Bible verse? Probably John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that has been made. That's probably my 8th favorite verse. Then, do you think it's weird that the biblical description of the New Jerusalem has its roughly 2/3 the size of America? You think God could do better than that? Well, and it's also a perfect cube. I don't think that the numerology in the book of Revelation is supposed to be taken literally, and that's because it says so at the beginning of the book. It says, the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his servants the things which must soon take place. The word for show is a Greek word seimino, which means to speak in signs. So, I agree and disagree with you, Benji. Let's see. Cartels already exist now. Do material conditions need to change? Sure. But more money there won't magically get rid of a paramilitary organization. The other thing, too, is that once you develop a paramilitary organization, in order to keep that running, you have to create a culture that necessitates it. That's one of the things that's always horrible when you're talking about occupying forces, and that's why one of your most underquoted military doctrines is that we do not want to be an occupying force because of that reason. An occupying force needs a culture to support it because that is a decades-long endeavor. And so in order to maintain that, you're going to have to maintain a culture of people who constantly do that as an expectation. In order for that to happen, you're going to have to create situations that necessitate said occupying force. Right? So, I'm not really a big fan of occupying forces for obvious reasons. Vin, why do you keep bringing up immigration in our debate? I'm not an open border guy. If it's immigration, if it's immigration, it's not the cartels. That's us bombing everything. I'm not sure what you mean by that. What I'm talking about is if we sent like a Task Force 17 down to take out the cartels, I don't see what the problem is, because long term, if we did significant damage to the cartels, it would stymie the wave of immigration, because that's the root of the problem. So that's the argument. The argument is, yeah, we should send them back to their home, but we have had a hand in making their home unlivable. And so part of us solving that problem would be take out people who are making it unlivable for you, and then invest in capital to restore their place and let them start from where they are. And so there's not a need for them to immigrate at a tune of 11 million over 4 years. I don't believe that America, like the land in America, is ontologically superior to the land in Mexico. And I think most people love where they're born. I don't think that people are born thinking, oh man, if only I could go to America. So I think if we made Mexico livable, that a lot of people wouldn't feel the desperation to go there. So that's the connection between taking out the cartels and immigration. I'm trying to get to the root of the problem. Borders will exist as long as nations and ethnic distinctions exist. Just end capitalism and we get open border socialist fantasy land is precisely why socialism is silly. Yeah, I mean, I have my desires of what a perfect world would look like, but I also believe very starkly in original sin. So it's going to take an extremely brilliant person to get us a just world. The argument has been proven not to work. The vacuum of power has always birthed more cartels, and we cut the head off the Hydra. We've never done this in Mexico. So what are you looking at as far as who replaced Noriega? Like, what are we talking about here? Because you keep talking like we've done this before. When have we done this with Mexico? Them being landlocked with us is extremely significant. We got to deal with that. Only white folks aren't allowed to have borders. What do you mean white folks? Mr. Hoyle, we share a border in California, and it's not just white folks in California. Only white folks aren't allowed to have borders. Hello? We're talking about the American border over here, man. Do you think humans should decide a just world? No. I don't think humans should decide a just world, because I do not believe that human beings even know what justice is without God. Yeah, and was Endara anything like Manuel Noriega? Was he anything like him? White folks invented borders. They drew the lines across the world. I don't believe that either. I don't believe that white people invented borders. It isn't a step at all, because Blut und Boden is real and distinctions between capitalists and labor are arbitrary. Well, blood and soil is actually a thing, though, Ben. I probably don't agree with Mr. Sin on the application therein, but those are actually real. As in, like, they have existence in the physical world. Yeah, I'm not worried about corruption. I'm worried about absolute murder and making your area so unlivable that people will risk the lives of their children to get away from you. And to this moment, I still haven't heard a solution to that problem from your guys' side. Obviously, if there's a bloodless way to solve that problem, I'm with it. But I'm not hearing like the we should do this instead. When white folks say they want to border, they're racist. When Mexicans want to border, they're protecting their country, is my point. Yeah. Mr. Hoyle, I love you to death, but the whole the white man, like, I don't have any pity for white people, man. You guys would be okay. You guys would be okay. And it's not just white people who are asking for a border. Okay, I got sent to Houston. See, that's the thing, is that I got sent to Houston. I had to do a 1-year assignment in Houston. That was a wonderful experience. It's not just white people who want closed borders. Which state are you from? I'll prove it to you. I'm in Florida. Thoughts on the detailed email Livensberger sent to Sam Shoemate? The FBI confirmed it was sent by him. So the guy that we did the 4th Psychops group is located in Fort Bragg. The dude that did the car thing where he killed 15 people, Fort Bragg. The dude that sent the letter and blew up the Tesla, Fort Bragg. I think that people should be very careful about accepting narratives coming from people who all were developed in the same place, especially considering the organizations that frequent that specific place. And that's as much as I'll say about that. Just because we didn't do it in Mexico doesn't mean we haven't done action similar to South America. What happened after Escobar, I don't know whose side is. My argument is just that Boots hasn't. Well, again, none of those places were border countries, and it was not a direct engagement with the U.S. military, which is why, even though we're the ones that killed Escobar and all those other people on the roof, we attributed it to other forces at the time. That was behind the whole Kurt Moose raid and all the rest of that stuff. So we have to understand that there are, just because you have the same template as far as, okay, this guy is a South American individual who is doing XYZ, that doesn't mean the same thing. If I engage an enemy in Syria, the mindset, the traditions, everything is vastly different from an enemy in Iraq. And again, those individuals are right next to each other. Okay, so to compare the 80s, Manuel Noriega and the rest of those guys, to a landlocked place like Mexico and the situation that those guys are in cartel-wise doesn't make a lot of sense. Secondly, there's a lot of ways you can work with the cartel. For example, the Sinaloa cartel is a very dangerous one. They're horrible, but that doesn't mean that you don't say to the heads of other cartels, look, we'll give you each $30 million. You guys go away for the rest of your lives. Help us take out these guys, and you'll be good to go. There's lots of things we could do. And that methodology does work. Go ask the Jawbreaker teams in the early days when we were going up against the Taliban. That was really, really effective. So, again, like, the difference is with the Tally, you know, they're thousands of miles away, and you have to keep going back and forth, right, to research troops. If you share a border with us, that's a win on our side, tactically speaking. But again, what I want to know from your guys' perspective is, what do you think will solve the problem? Like, this to me is a very messy, bloody way to solve the problem. What is your solution to the problem is what I'm saying. Vin, isn't it crazy that the hippie movement was a way to make legit anti-war movements look ridiculous? It's just like modern infiltrators like Canada with a swastika guy at the trucker protests. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that the entirety and that every hippie was doing that. What I do think that our intelligence community is very gifted at is taking the strength of the enemy and turning it into a weakness. That's one of the first things you learn, and it's very, very important to learn that lesson. By keeping drugs illegal, it gives the cartels an opening because drug addicts are not going anywhere. What do you think of Trump selling Bibles with his name on the front and the very top of the cover? I think it's crazy, but American Christians have already commodified the Bible. There's the teen Bible, there's the just married Bible, there's the feminist Bible, there's this Bible, there's that Bible. We've commodified the Bible already so much that, you know, a guy like Trump is just another one in there. I just wouldn't want to be him when I talk to Jesus about that. You put my name on your name on my book, the hell? So I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I'd never let anybody put my name or whatever on a Bible. But I mean, hell, man, he must not know who he's dealing with. The 7-year-old guy with ketchup on his face who magically jumped up after a group of secret agents jumped on him. Greed is no ends and will cost you your country. This is you. This is you talking about the assassination attempt that he threw ketchup on himself. I mean, Morbid Angel, like, this is one of the reasons why, like, it's hard to take you guys seriously, man. Like, anybody that knows anything about ballistics, like, it's just hard. It's hard to take you seriously. You say stuff like that. The only real solution is boosting economic development in those countries. I understand that, but when you have elements like the cartel, no matter what you do, they're going to suck the people dry. You know what I'm saying? It's just like we had to deal with the mafia. I don't know if you guys remember this, but when Giuliani was going after the mafia in New York, they told him that he was never going to overcome the mafia. And did he completely eliminate the mafia? No, but he hurt them enough to where they were controllable, and the entire New York City was not held hostage to them. So nobody believes that this is going to solve every problem in Mexico. But what we are saying is we can make life so miserable for those folks that we can set the parameters and say, listen, you guys do this, this, and this. You can get X million dollars per year, blah, blah, blah. But if you take it here and you make the place unlivable, we're just going to come in and kill you guys in bunches. So we just haven't had the will to do it. But I definitely believe there's a way to solve that problem. We can't boost other countries. We have embargoes to handle. I agree. But we look, you can go to Mexico and you can say, listen, Sinaloa, whoever you are, you need to degrade your operations by 30% so that these people can live. Because if you don't have these people live, they're going to come to our country and then they're going to try to invade our country. That's the word that was used today. And so we can't let y'all do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to come and fuck you guys up until you stop making the place so unlivable for these people. We're not saying you can't get your money. And you know what? What happened with the Italians in America when that happened? The Italians said, we're still going to make money, but this whole thing where we're just going to go in and just blast people to smithereens right in front of everybody, we can't do that no more. So they had to change how they operated. They're still there. Like we had a friend that was working for them dudes, like in New York City. They're still there, but it was underground and they weren't doing things in broad daylight and all the rest of it. I'm not going to say it's, but Giuliani had to show that he had the will to do that. And as long as you have the will to do that, then you should be okay. You know as well I do, the mafia were spooks that got scared as soon as the government acknowledged their existence. They hid like roaches. They did not initially hide like roaches. John Gotti did not initially hide like a roach. I was in New York. Those guys were walking around like celebrities, bro. They were walking around like celebrities. That's untrue. They were daring the government to do something to them. And that's when the whole RICO thing got stood up and all the rest of it. Like, Giuliani did his homework, figured out what RICO was about, and he put a significant dent into that crime family. So you actually do have a proof of concept. We don't need to get rid of the cartel. That's the devil reincarnate. I don't know about the devil reincarnate, but if that's the devil, I'd be very grateful to God if Giuliani was the devil, because that's a pretty weak devil. Working with stronger cartels is a lot smarter than boots on the ground. I disagree. I don't think you can work with stronger cartels to get them to stop fucking with other people. I don't think that that's how that works. I've never seen a proof of concept of that. I saw us working with the Northern Alliance in Afghanistan, and I also saw them feeling sorry for people that we had in detainment, and I also saw them dragging their heels when we had Bin Laden literally like in eyesight. So I understand the idea of working with the local population, blah blah blah, Robin Sage, all that stuff, but the fact of the matter is, and I don't think that those Afghanis were bad people. I don't think the Northern Alliance were bad people. I don't think Muqtada al-Sadr was a bad person. I do think that everybody has motivations, everybody has value systems, and everybody's going to default to what their value systems are. And so because of that, you inherently cannot trust the cartel to take out the cartel. You literally just stated threatening the Sinaloa cartel. Same thing I said. Yeah, but I'm not going to use another cartel to threaten them. We're going to threaten them. Right? We're going to threaten them. We're going to say, okay, at your next meeting, when your boss comes to say whatever he has to say, 3 sentences in, he's gonna have a bull in his head. We could touch you in your most secretive environments and all the rest of it. That's the stuff I'm talking about. We don't know who the number 2 is. We don't know who the number 3 is. There's a lot that's being assumed about these cartels. We don't need to do a giant a raid into Mexico with the full force of U.S. military. We don't need to do that. There's a photo of him lifted up, Vin. Why would the Secret Service lift him up in the possible line of fire? Who is him? Who's him? You can't compare the reach of the cartel over those in Afghanistan. Yeah, the people in Afghanistan were actually, are an actual military that actually took on a superpower and won, right? Because they had 20 years earlier taking care of the Russians in the 80s, right? So, yeah, of course. But we took out the Taliban in about 6 weeks. What happened with the Tali was we became an occupying force. And I've already told you, cross-border occupation is a lot different than cross-overseas occupation. It's not the same thing. We make these judgments every day. God gives you this. You know the guy is not embodying anything of worth. Which guy? Well, every guy embodies something of worth, right? Because he's created in God's image, and God is infinitely valuable. So every human being is valuable. So I don't know what you mean by that. I'll give you guys 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes, guys. Using another cartel is like saying, we don't want to murder you. We want other people to murder you. Like, what the fuck? You're just hiring a hitman. Yeah, and that hitman is again, that hitman, anytime you outsource something, those individuals have their own agenda. Right? So, I mean, we learned that lesson, unfortunately, with Mujahideen over there in Afghanistan. There are fools and there are reprehensible. Giuliani. Well, Giuliani may be a reprehensible fool, but he did stop the Italian mafia in America. That's not debatable. I mean, they're saying it. So I understand that Giuliani didn't do much of a good thing later on in his life, but relative to the subject that we're talking about, he did a damn good job with the Italian mafia. I tell a Sinaloa cartel will mess you up if you don't get these other cartel. No. I didn't say other cartels to calm down. No. No, I'm talking about them. I'm saying you're going to meet with your boss in one of your super secret meetings, and I'll have a dev group guy put a bullet in his head right in the middle of your guys' little conversation so you guys can understand we can touch you anytime we want. I'm not saying we should send Sinaloa to go intimidate the rest of them. We don't need to pay or work with the Sinaloa to threaten other cartels. They're already doing it. They're at war with each other. So they're already threatening each other. So that's obviously not going to work. What I'm saying is you guys can still operate, but you're going to have to turn down your operation 30%, and you guys have to stop doing these killings of innocent civilians. And if you do kill civilians, you need to make sure that you show the public that that was a mistake and that there's retribution for it. Because if you don't, then the people are going to be rightly terrified and want to come to our country, and we can't sustain them. That's the argument. Cartel deal with issues, and then the Afghanistan military failed. The rebels were the winners. Well, no, the military did not fail. The occupation failed, but the initial mission was completed in about 3 or 4 weeks, bro. I'm not trying. And secondly, again, Afghanistan does not border us. Okay, these people border with us. So it's a lot less expensive and a lot less timely to keep those things in play. I think we've got a great example of this with the Italian mafia. We didn't completely end the Italian mafia, but we degraded them so much that they couldn't do what they were doing before and making life a living hell over there in New York City. I mean, you can call the Taliban cavemen if you want, but those guys are in my view, aside from the Chechens, the most sophisticated fighting force in the world that haven't crossed into the first world, if you understand my meaning. This idea that we were fighting cavemen in Afghanistan is ridiculous. You guys have no idea what you're talking about. You have the Sinaloa cartel. They're comprised of a bunch of other cartels. You deal with the head of the Sinaloa. The smaller cartels fight for power, a.k.a. El Chapo. Right. Sinaloa is the one that we talk about, right? Like, for example, when we said we're going to fight Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda was not the only terrorist group that we've been fighting. Right? As I've said, we have Jabhat al-Nusra, we have all these other people. So nobody's saying that the Sinaloa cartel is the only cartel in Mexico. But I do think going out there and making quick work of Sinaloa and degrading their revenue by billions of dollars in 3 weeks, I think that would be significant. We don't need to overcome every single cartel in Mexico. These dudes have deep-seated blood feuds with each other, so it's not like there's going to be a bunch of dudes that are like, we need to link up with Sinaloa to fight the Americans. We can go in there and put some serious pain in the lives of the Sinaloa guys, and I think other people will start making business decisions. So they don't want to, trust me, son, they don't want blonde women. They don't want to convert. Okay, Clutch, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. We're not talking about converting these people to anything. What we're saying is all human beings have pretty much the same types of likes and dislikes and wants and needs. And these people are no different. People would rather live than die. And people would rather have money than be poor. So you just go and tell these people, a lot of you guys are going to die, and a lot of you guys are going to miss out on money because you're starting to make us die and make us miss money. It's that simple. Yeah, I agree, but the cartels, Applejack, are not they're not like a separate kind of human being. All human beings are motivated by pretty much the same things. And so I'm not seeing where we're disagreeing. You can't harm their revenue until you fix the flow of the entry first. They burned fields in Colombia and didn't harm much. I just disagree with that. I've seen it. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. But again, what is your solution, Applejack? Because I haven't heard your solution yet. Being outnumbered by genetics, that's a primary fear for the white people. Well, I think there's some white people that are primarily afraid of that. You know, the Tucker Carlson, Elon Musk types, for sure. Has Trump articulated your plan on how to deal with the cartel? Has he said he's willing to do that? Well, he said he's willing to use military assets. See, one thing about Trump that people don't understand is that he doesn't bloviate on things that he doesn't know about. All he knows is, man, I could send the military in there, they could take care of business. But the actual how, I think he would leave to, you know, the TF-17 guys. But I'm not saying it would be a walk in the park. I believe that American civilians would die. I believe that the cartels, because they have cells here, obviously, would retaliate by killing civilians. That's what I think would happen. But I think the response at that point would be so overwhelming that we wouldn't be talking about them for the next 100 years. That's what I think. We disagree with boots on the ground. I told you I don't have a solution. I'm not disagreeing with dealing with cartels. I only know anti-war. My disagreement is just the boots on the ground part. Yeah, I think there's a difference between asymmetric acts of war and war itself. I don't think we need to bring APCs. I don't think we need to bring a destroyer into the Gulf of Mexico, although we have destroyers already in the Gulf of Mexico. Like I'm anti-war because the wars that we have been fighting are unjustified wars that only serve the business interests of a few people and do not benefit Americans but endanger them. That would not be true of us going after the cartels. I'm not anti-immigration. I'm not anti-dealing with the cartel. I just don't think an American can deal with it. I think an American is the only one that can deal with it. And I think that there have been some very bad groups that Americans don't even know about that we have eradicated. So I've seen our ability to take out groups of people. The main difference between a group like Al-Qaeda and the cartel is that Al-Qaeda are legitimately seen as heroes. Bin Laden is legitimately seen as a hero. You had average Iraqi, every girl from between 2001 to about 2015, every girl you knew with an Arabic name dreamed of being with a guy like Osama bin Laden. I mean, all over the world. Bin Laden was loved because he was viewed as a person of principle who put the deen above money and even his life. That is not the view of the cartel. It's not the civilian understanding of the cartel. So there are openings there that I think we could exploit and take advantage of. I think invading Mexico would be a bad move. If Mexico says to keep the military out, we have to keep the military out. If we invade against their wishes, I will take the anti-American side 100%. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. That's fine. And look, if the president of Mexico kept her 11 million citizens from crossing our border, then no problem. Right? No problem. I mean, that's the best of all possible worlds. Yeah, but again, it depends on how you define the term very bad. To me, very bad is you're coming into America because it's absolutely unlivable where you are, and it's unlivable where you are because of the cartels. If I was Trump, I would say, okay, you have 6 months to declare absolute and total war against the cartels and handle them. And then if you can't beat them in 6 months, we'll come and help you. That's what I would say, because that's fine. They can have their national sovereignty, but we get national sovereignty too, right? So we can't say we're going to allow 11 million of you to come every 4 years and we're not going to do anything about it, right? So my thing is, we're going to have a lot more loss of life if we protract this thing instead of just dealing with it now. Tear off the Band-Aid now. I have no issue with Mexican immigrants. I don't have issue with Mexican immigrants either, bro. Nobody has issue with Mexican immigrants. What we have an issue with is 11 million people coming into our country that we cannot sustain. That's the problem. Sounds like a border problem, not an invasion problem. I mean, that's like saying that sounds like a door problem, not a home invasion problem. Like, what are we talking about here? Right? What we have is a country that is so hellish that people would risk their lives of their children. You got kids. What scenario would put you in a situation where you would let them go unattended to risk their own lives? That's got to be a pretty extreme circumstance, right? So what I'm saying is these people are existing in a really extremely horrible situation, and we just keep putting Band-Aids on a compound fracture. How do you feel the next 4 years will go? Better than Biden or worse? Well, it's got to be better. It's got to be better because Biden, no disrespect intended to Mr. Biden, but it was clear that Mr. Biden did not have his, all of his mental faculties at his disposal. I think we can all agree with that. So by that alone, it's got to be exponentially better. Secondly, it's already been better. It was Trump did better than Biden before he even swore in, because he stopped the Israelis from killing them Palestinians. So that's already like done. Like that question has already been solved. When was the last time that Mexican guy standing outside Home Depot took your job or your girl? Why are you so afraid of him? Who are you talking about? Who's afraid of the Mexican at Home Depot? And why do you keep talking about Home Depot and cleaning and doing people's lawns and shit as if that's the only thing Mexicans can do? I think it'll be an issue by issue thing. You said God judges the why. Why are they leaving like that, Vin? Why don't you fix how we depress other countries, and how are you not just putting a Band-Aid on? Well, every country doesn't have the same set of issues. Clearly, the cartel, I'm getting this from Mexican people. I never worked with civilians in that situation. But I've been in rooms with them when they explain what the hell happens. Like I said, I've never been assigned to the civilian side or like taking care of people or whatever. But they're the ones that are saying that the cartel is making their lives a living hell. So if you think that there's something else going on in Mexico if you think that there is a greater factor, let me say it this way. If you believe that there is a greater factor than the cartels that are making life unlivable for people in Mexico, tell me what it is so that we can go and attack that. I thought we were all calibrated that it was the cartels that were making life unlivable over there. But it is possible that there's something else. Like I said, I don't really know a lot about the inner workings of what's going on in Mexico. Like, that wasn't my, you know what I'm saying? I think Trump is likely to be worse on local issues, even if he does better on international issues, which I'm still not sold on. Well, he's already done better with Israel-Palestine than Biden did, or Kamala. I mean, shit, rhetorically, even. I mean, lie to us, Kamala, and tell us that you feel terrible for the Palestinians. At least lie. Steve says the cartel sells dope, a lot of it. Agree. Yeah, yeah, you don't know much. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, man. Like, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that bloviate on things that they don't know about. But, if I don't know something, I'm gonna tell you all I don't know. But I'm just trying to figure out. Okay, nobody likes that solution. Great, give me your solution then. But if you don't have a solution, then what you're telling me is that things are just going to keep going this way. We just get to let 11 people in every 4 years, and then we get overrun, and then the apathy of Americans increases, so now we no longer care about kids being in cages because it's just what happens, because where else are you going to put them? Get me the solutions, guys. Israel is going to annex all of Palestine, dude. It's not over. Well, it seems there's a lot of people that want that to happen so that they don't have to give Trump credit. I know a lot about how we've interacted with the Muslim world. I know a lot about that. But if you're talking, I don't know anything about the way that we've handled Mexico in the last 20 years. But we know that that's the goal of the Israelis, is to annex all of Palestine, but they haven't been able to do it. And when Mr. Biden was in office, they were much closer to that goal than before Mr. Trump even was sworn in. Sanction warfare, regime change, though it was a while ago, constant blockades, cartel is their issue, but they got there because of us. I get this from Mexicans. Don't tell me I don't know. Well, I never told you that you didn't know. But what I'm asking is, tell me the actual steps that you would take to stymie all this immigration. Whatever gave birth to the cartels, I mean, there were cartels. They've always been cartels around because human beings have always wanted to control money and power. But how does that help? How does that help solve the problem? Like, what is the plan to do something significant that we haven't done already? See, that's my thing. We've never even put any real pressure on these dudes. So I don't even know how people can comment on it. We haven't even tried it yet. And sanctions run on... You cannot put a sanction on Al-Qaeda, right? Right? That's the entire reason that we still have them people in Guantanamo for 25 plus years. Because they're part of a terrorist outfit and they're not actually fighting on behalf of an actual nation, right? So the Geneva Convention doesn't apply to those people. So they were using a loophole to say, hey, you can't do anything to our country because we're private actors. And then we said, yeah, that's fine. Then we could put you in internment forever because you're a private actor, not a state actor. So the Geneva Convention doesn't apply to you. Right? So like it's a bunch of games for sure. For sure. The more you look into it, the more it's WWE. Yeah, I mean, it is WWE, but the issue is everybody goes home after Monday Night Raw. And I got a bunch of Palestinian kids that are never going home and a bunch of dads that are never going to say what's up to their kids ever again. So that really troubled me. Other people here don't seem very troubled by that, but it troubles me a lot. Troubles me a lot to see people die. And it also troubles me a lot to see people in my country not give a flying fuck about it because their political person wasn't the one that got it done. But yeah, I'm never going to be cool with mass murdering people, especially people that don't deserve it. Hurting the cartel, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But I also appreciate what you're saying too, Applejack, because you're not out here saying I know how to solve this problem. It's a very complex problem. And I agree that we had a major hand in creating it. I agree. But that means that we need to put up to solve it too. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Have you changed your stance on George Floyd? Do you still think the cop was wrong? I know this is on topic. Have you seen civil crowd reenacting the arrest? No, I haven't changed anything on George Floyd other than the fact that I told myself, I said, listen, if you're ever in that situation, you can't pull out your phone. I was at a rally one time, and I said, there were some cops there at the end of it. I said, listen, I promise you guys this. If I ever see one of those people on you, I promise you I'm not pulling out my phone. I promise you. Yeah, I haven't changed at all about George Floyd. Steven Crowder wasn't trying to change anybody's mind with that video in the first place. Obviously. Since the existence of the Patriot Act, can't help but be very weary and eagle-eyed on any domestic task of open-ended terror lists. Kristi Noem will be essential to that of sort. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I talked to my son about that a lot. I said, I wish you could have been here before 9/11. Like, the understanding of America, what freedom meant, the role of the government, all these things. A lot of those things have been... A lot of those things have been manipulated beyond belief, and it's crazy to me that my kids grew up in an America, a post-Patriot Act America. Like, it's crazy to think about. Like, just how privileged we actually were as Americans relative to our freedom. So, yeah, no, I agree. Blame gravity. You're 100% right. 100% right. Yeah, and obviously, you know, we can't trust our government to do anything right. And when I mean right, I mean morally as well as practically. I just know that as it stands right now, we have a drug trafficking, and I'm not... Just be real with y'all about this. We've lost so many people to fentanyl, and these hard drugs that are being flooded into this country. And you know, the ministry we're involved with, that was the main pain point where we were at, was there was a lot of that going on. And so I am seeing thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of deaths of Americans. And this is one of the major reasons why. And so if you came into the country and killed and took an AK-47 and shot up thousands of Americans and killed them, there would absolutely be a response. But because the tactic was chemical, we're not looking at this as an act of chemical warfare, because the folks doing it are not doing it to end America or harm us, but they're doing it to get rich. But I am experiencing it as chemical warfare. And tens of thousands of Americans are dying because of it. And so that's all I need. I love you and your Rice reactions to music, ideas, and each other. Good to see you. Stellar playlists. Do you have a page? If so, please tell us the name of your page so we can promote it here. Morbid Angel, you're so strange. I don't relate to my government the same way that you guys relate to your government, apparently. I'll come back when it all goes to shit. Then we'll see your reaction when your Caesar has blessed your country. I don't believe that Mr. Trump is Caesar. And I only believe that God can bless my country. I have my hope in Jesus. I don't have my hope in Trump. But I also know that it's good that Palestinians are not getting bombed to death today. That's good, and I will celebrate that. You want our country to go to shit so that you could say you are right to hate Trump. That's okay. You can feel that way if you'd like. What are your thoughts on Ross Ulbricht, the Silk Road guy? Word is that Trump hired a massive lawyer team to look into his case. As long as it's just, as long as there isn't any way to humanly traffic people with that Silk Road stuff, to me, that's just the government being upset that they're not able to get a piece of the pie. I don't think that there's any legal or moral issue that our government has, obviously. Why did you block Morbid Angel's comment? I thought it was a free speech channel. What do you mean block it? I posted it on the...
Like, literally on the screen?
I posted on the screen. What are you talking about?
Oh.
And then I read it. How did I block it?
Interesting.
Adar says, what's up?
Yes, I wait.
He says, hi, sorry.
Hello.
Hello, Clarice.
I just got finished cooking supper. The kids were laughing at me for cooking at this time.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Allahu Akbar.
You have kielbasa kebabs. And then I was going to make some rice concoction, but I realized we were out of rice, so it is now potatoes.
Okay. All right, there you go. A potato concoction. So I'm saying we should send Task Force 17 down there to take care of the cartels, and I think everybody disagreed with me.
Oh, what do they want?
I don't know what they want. They just don't want the military in there.
Some guy, I mean, it disappeared in the chat. Maybe Morbid Angel deleted their own message. I mean, how can we say? We didn't block it. We posted it on the screen.
Yeah, it's not, trust me, it's, I wouldn't put it on the screen if I intended to block it.
Oh, no.
I just wish people would think stuff through. Like, why would he block it if he put it on the screen and then read it?
He must have missed that.
Just 2 seconds.
There's no way. He missed it.
You just gotta think it through. That's all. Sori teleports in just as soon as she's missed. I want to respect Mexico's wishes. Yeah, I want to respect Mexico's wishes too, as long as they respect ours. So if they self-police and make it so that 11 million people don't cross our border, no problem. No problem. This whole respect wishes things has to go 2 ways. It's got to go 2 ways. Mm-hmm. We got wishes too. So respect him. I voted for Trump, but what do you think about his son-in-law's background and efforts? Are you talking about Kushner? I'm not a fan of Mr. Kushner for obvious reasons. So if you're talking about that, that's my... Wakator agreed with me. That's right. Wakator agreed with me. I think the way was to human traffic, but there's no evidence that he did. He served 10 years already. Don't understand how he's still in there. Yeah, if they can't, of course I agree. Like they're gonna smack the human trafficking thing because people like me and you will be like, well, shit, if he did human trafficking, you see what I'm saying? So it worked exactly the way they wanted it to. Yeah, I don't know what other reason they have for him still being in there. And to me, it just, I thought too, like, I'm like, they're going to make Bitcoin illegal. Like, however people look at, Bitcoin or blockchain or whatever, anything that the government doesn't have complete oversight and control and dictation over, they're going to find some way to make it bad. So I agree. But I want to be convinced that he wasn't, that A, he wasn't human trafficking, or B, that methodology of trade doesn't result in that either. But yeah, aside from that, I can't see any legal or moral reason why, other than we want to show people, if you come up with a way to do trade and things like that without us and our oversight, without giving us a cut, we're going to make your life a living hell. So yeah, agree with that. I would rather 11 million Mexicans than a single Sori. I would also want 11 million Mexicans than a single Sori because Sori's married. She's not single. See what I'm saying? Meanwhile, meme coins, yeah, they're literally people who bought meme coins from Donald Trump. They spent $1,000.
They did?
yeah, on some sort of mean Bitcoin scam, and they actually bought it. It's unbelievable.
Oh no!
Unbelievable to me.
$1,000?
Yeah, I was watching one of the videos. I was gonna make a video about it, but I didn't want to like
mock people.
I didn't want to mock them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Word is Vivek left Doge to run for the governor of Ohio. You know, Vivek, he said all that stuff. He hurt the white boy's feelings.
Yeah.
So he couldn't be on Twitter anymore. So now Trump is like, oh, we'll let him run Ohio. Good luck. Good luck. I don't think they're ever going to forgive that boy. So I told Dorian, I'm like, you don't ever forget. You around these Republicans. You still black, boy. Poor Vivek, he forgot. He thought he was really one of them.
I will always
You should have told him, Sin. You should have told him, Sin. You ain't us. You ain't like us. That's why me and Sin get along. You see what I'm saying? Like, we know. You know what's up. Oh, shit. Melania has him, too. Yeah, Melania's getting into the game. She's like, how come Trump getting all the extra money? How come Trump's getting all the extra pocket money? She wants some pocket money, too. Go ahead, Brother Minister. If America cannot protect its own borders and people, then we aren't a real sovereign country, full stop. I refuse to live in that world. No one has been offering any other solutions to this problem. It's true. It's just true. And honestly, I mean, just as a solid, how would you feel if you were a Mexican with the fucking cartel running everything? Wouldn't you want your government to stand up and take them out? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Come on now. The libs losing their minds over every single word coming out of Trump's mouth. We have no idea. Well, apparently Elon did a Sieg Heil thing. Oh,
no.
And so, yeah. So, you know, oh, Elon Musk always a Nazi, blah, blah, blah. I said, I don't care. I don't care. We just killed 45,000 Palestinians. I don't care about this. Ridiculous. I think it's a scam, but get this twist. Trump made those meme coins to get money funneled from foreign countries. Yeah, look, people could say whatever they want about this man. But Trump, to me, is one of the most intelligent leaders I've ever seen. And it's because he always surrounds himself with people who are smarter than him. People say whatever they want about their ego. When he was in the middle of going after Hillary and things weren't going well and he stalled out, he went and hired that lady. Mm-hmm. He went out and got himself a woman and said, hey, fix this. Mm-hmm. Like, he surrounds himself with people who are smarter than him, and he takes their directives. So that's why he's so dangerous. He's projecting to y'all that he's some crazy egomaniac, but he surrounds himself with people who are smarter than him, and he listens to their counsel. Mm-hmm. So do what you want with that. But that's why he's so dangerous, man. A man who knows who he is and knows who he isn't is absolutely and totally dangerous. One man told me that lesson, and you have no idea. It'll change your life, dear listener. You need to know who you are and know who you're not. And the Hawk Tuah coin was a scam also. Apparently the Hawk Tuah girl came out with some Bitcoin.
No.
And apparently, like, she's on the run now, like dodging, literally dodging the law, like she's in trouble. I'm serious. Because it was like bootleg or something. Look, the Bitcoin thing, our government is going to do anything and everything to discourage the Bitcoin thing, because just like how social media took the top off of speech in controlling the narrative, Bitcoin is taking the top off of the government's ability to control the capital. And so they're like, we're not going to make the same mistake that we did with speech with social media, because we now know that if the powers that be knew what social media was going to become, they would have killed that
Yup,
shit
they
before
would've.
it started. You know. Elon Musk thinks he was elected the Führer. Because he did the little Sieg Heil thing. I don't care. I don't care. I doubt he did it on purpose, but even if he did, I'm so sick and tired of people falling for these stupid games. We're going to go crazy about symbology.
Yep.
Somebody was talking to me, oh my God, look what he did. And I'm like, yeah, man, we just killed 45,000 Palestinians. Your man Biden just slept through murdering 45,000 Palestinians, bruh. Like, what are we talking about here? Rug pull. Yeah. Yeah. Bible MVP. Bible music video playlist. Okay, well, there you go. Stellar playlists, everybody. Check them out. Check them out. Check them out. Check them out. We got off the gold standard because it has diminishing value when the population booms and they need it. And they need it redirected to something else. War in our case. Gold standard was always dumb. Well, you've got that modern monetary theory thing where you think the government can just print out money and give it to everybody and it won't degrade the value of the dollar, which I'm not saying is crazy because I don't know much about economics. So you were supposed to come on and explain it to me one day, but you said you didn't want to give away the free labor or some communist bullshit like that. So
What's up, Ben Webb?
I love Ben, but yeah, like
Yeah.
they always pull that out too. Like, oh, let's have a go. Oh, it's my labor. Man, shut up, man. Stop. What does Gen Alpha think of the Trump comeback? Well, it was a Gen Alpha person that had let me know that that TikTok had been restored. So the Gen Alphas think that Trump saved TikTok for them. So, look, I know that he had those people say, "Thank you, Mr. Trump." He made sure those people said it. But look, man, this is why he does what he does. He keeps getting he keeps getting what he wants. Song request, Paradise Lost, Forever Failure. Who we talking about? Is he talking about Biden? Forever Failure? He's not the president no more. Now I can say, like, he had a terrible presidency, man. Terrible. Now that the media has stopped calling Elon the president, people aren't really saying it now. Just like I said, they just parrot for their talking points from their favorite YouTuber. Yeah. Like Elon. Because they're trying to get Elon and Trump to have a jihad. They're like, Elon, President, President Musk, President Musk, please. I thought. See, here's the thing to me about the whole President Musk thing. I thought you guys said that Trump was a megalomaniacal, crazy dictator. How in the world is he tolerating? How is he submitting to Elon Musk if he's such a horrible, terrible dictator? Wouldn't he execute him? Isn't that what dictators do when somebody else is getting too popular? Make a decision. Is he literally Hitler? Well, if he's literally Hitler, then how is he letting Elon Musk run his country then? He must not be literally Hitler then. It's like, make a decision, guys. Make a decision. Well, apparently, we can print money and nothing bad will happen except for all the prices going up. No, Ben, I'm not being funny. Ben literally has a theory that says that the government can print out money and it not, like, destroy inflation or whatever. So, I don't know if he's right or wrong, I'm just saying. Trump wants 50% of TikTok, $500 billion. There's no way. TikTok is not worth no $1 trillion.
I have no idea.
There's no way. There's no way that TikTok is worth $500 billion. Mr. Beast was saying he was going to buy it.
Yeah, but...
There's no way.
Is it true that they wouldn't sell it to him because he's American?
I mean, it's a Chinese company. We're probably going to force them to sell it anyway. Oh, here it is. Okay, so Elon is Goebbels. He's not Hitler. Oh, okay. You guys are stuck in 2016. I really, really hope that that's not going to be your guys' strategy to do the Hitler thing again. I really hope it's not. But We've got another 4 years
yeah.
of more Hitler stuff. From the group of people that was supporting the fucking Azov Battalion. Actual Nazis who are actually doing the Sieg Heil shit and are actually killing people. All these people that supported Ukraine are now telling me I need to go crazy on Elon Musk because he did this. Man, if y'all don't stop, if you don't stop, I guess Joe Rogan's a false prophet now. Man, I hope to God that you guys that you guys are not saying like, we'll go with the Nazi. We're gonna do the Nazi thing again, please.
It's ridiculous.
God Almighty.
Their reaction to the decision of the country
I know, it's insane. It's insane.
I mean,
Insane. I can show you screenshots of American apps being turned off. Here it is. Elon is friends with Trump. Your premise is illogical. I don't know, King Igor. I don't know who you were talking to there, but I haven't seen you before, so I posted your statement. They literally were telling TikTok to sell to an American country because it would save TikTok. Yeah, watch. I don't think TikTok is good. TikTok is going to get sold in the next month and a half. They're going to they're going to force that sale. And they're going to say, look, you're going to have to decide like whether you want an American presence or if you want to stick to your guns and keep it owned by China. Mm-hmm. But we're not gonna let you have it we're not gonna let you have the highest the largest social media slice of the mm-hmm. pie without us getting in the middle of that. Mm-hmm. Same with wages. As soon as it went to $20 in California, a lot of the companies laid everyone off or closed. That is true. Like we did see that happen. That actually did happen. So I'm all for like increased minimum wage, but I just don't know how to balance it out with smaller businesses. I wish the government would do a subsidy for small businesses. Like if you have X amount of employees, the government will subsidize the rest of it, so you can have a $18 or $20 minimum wage without small mom and pop companies having to resort to doing that to people. Okay, so King Igor was talking to me when he said, I don't know, where did it go? Elon is friends with Trump. Your premise is illogical. Okay, so my premise that Elon is not really a Nazi is illogical because he's friends with Trump. So that means that how could Elon not be a Nazi if he's friends with Trump? I think that's the idea. If you guys are still going with the 2016 thing where Trump is a Nazi, Trump is literally Hitler, go for it. I mean, go for it. I just don't want y'all to do it because it's so boring. I wish we could hear something else. Uh-huh. But I mean, I guess if that's the
if you want to do it again.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the solution, do it again. I mean, shit, man. Like, I don't know.
Just get a little creative.
Yeah, why don't you guys do like the alien thing? Like Trump is really an alien, and this is all part of the conspiracy.
He's a lizard man.
He's a lizard person, and he's gonna invade America. You know what I'm saying? Like, why don't you guys do that? The Nazi thing is played out. Now y'all, unbelievable. Mr. Ben, it doesn't matter what the bill says. My favorite mobile game app shut down web. Yeah, Ben, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. He's talking to you about like actual documents of the actual policy. You have a screenshot about these apps. Doesn't what the actual shout out to Applejack. That man has the patience of Job, boy. I'm telling you, he does. He's more Christ-like than me on that shit. I've been going through Middle America. I've been looking at him. Jesus, like, see, look at that.
Aww.
You should be ashamed of yourself. I'm like, I'm not ashamed of myself though. He's like, I know, but you should be. Look what he's doing. Look how he answered that fool. He don't like him just as much as you don't like him. I know. Trust me, I know his heart. And look how he answered. I'm like, yeah, you're right. All right, so next time you deal with him, you answer that way. I'm like, you know what, Jesus, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be like Applejack, no doubt. He's like, all right, cool. Nigga, what?
Oh, and then you do something else?
What? How dare you? Don't hit send. Don't hit send. Shout out to Applejack. I'm trying to be like you, bro. It's just so hard. It's just so hard.
It's so hard. It's just so hard.
I'm sorry. I was not gonna choke you to death. I was really not. Just got so angry.
I just get so tired of them.
Oh shit. Vin, Trump said TikTok is worth $1 trillion with America, so he wants 50. Said it's zero without the U.S. It's zero without the U.S. Holy hell. Okay, I stand corrected. So Trump valuates TikTok at $1 trillion, so he wants 500 Bs. Okay. What if Elon dies? I don't. They'll have to find somebody else to be the new Nazi or whatever. I have no idea. No, I mean the actual app was shut down. The bill affects American companies that co-publish their games to Chinese companies. This already been shown to be true. This already happened. Okay, I understand that. That makes a lot of sense. I don't. You out again? Mm-hmm. All right, sayonara.
See ya.
Not the game would be shut down. The game was shut down. This is a real world fact. Yeah, but I think though that I hear what you're saying about the thing being shut down, Ben, but I don't think that's the same thing as the actual law. That's the difference. Watching from the UK, glad the dawn is in. Can't believe Biden can get away with that BS pardon nonsense yesterday. We need someone like Trump in the UK. Great channel, guys. Hey, OC, good to see you. Yeah, the pardon thing is crazy. And when the Republican leaves, he always pardons a bunch of people the Democrats don't like and vice versa. It is what it is, it's just part of the culture, Christianity is mostly right-winged. That's why this fascist is president with the help of his minions. Oh, okay. So you believe that it's Christianity that put Trump in office? That Trump was running on the Christian ticket? You think America's dominated by evangelical Christians? You got a very rosy view of the country then, my man. I don't believe that we're dominated by evangelical Christians. I'm late to your conversation, but do you think the hostages recently released would have happened if Biden won? Well, I don't have to speculate on that, Stellar. We don't need to speculate on that. Biden had a year to get the hostages out of there, and he didn't do a damn thing. We don't need to speculate on that. Everybody on the planet knows why those hostages are home now. It's because of Donald J. Trump, full stop, end of story. And he wasn't even the president yet. As I've said, a lot of people on the left don't understand how violence works. They really don't. But the second dinner didn't shut down the game, according to Ben Brody, the lead dev. It would happen. It was pulled from the app stores too. The government shut them down. Well, I don't disagree that the government shut them down, but But that's not the same thing as what Applejack is saying, which is to say, this is what the law actually says. Now, whether or not the government applied or misapplied the actual statute, that's a separate discussion. So, you both could be right in that situation. See what I'm saying? But sure, keep pretending this policy doesn't hurt American companies and the American economy. The TikTok ban should be completely removed entirely. The policy is bad for us. Yeah. I don't know, because this might just be my own being victimized by American propaganda, but considering all the IP and all the other shit that the Chinese have stolen from us, I think putting blockades and barriers in the way of their industry here, especially relative to intellectual content, I think is probably better and not worse. There's more Christians in America than anywhere in the world. Okay. All right. King Igor, are you happy that the Palestinian people can go to sleep tonight without bombs raining over their heads? Are you happy about that? If Biden Kamala won, the chances of there being a ceasefire at the table right now is 0%. Zero. You know what would happen. What would happen is she, after she swore in for president, The next thing she would do would be to send another $5 billion to those Israelis so they could keep killing Palestinians. That's what would happen. And then all the people who voted for her would say, yeah, it's terrible, but Trump would have done the same thing. That's what would happen, and that's how they would respond. Progressives can't wrap their head around mainstream public perception. Elon can't be a Nazi now because Nazis are the ones now just for opposing the slaughter and encampment of Palestinians, apparently. Correct. Vin, can you explain 2 Bible verses that I believe contradict each other? Sure. I'll try. Now you're changing the discussion. I'm speaking on the good or bad on the policy. I'm just speaking on what the law is. Right. Like, he's not saying that I like this law or dislike this law. He's just saying this is what the law said. I don't see how he's off there. That's what I'm like. You both could be true at the same. You can both be right at the same time. Angel saying, if we're banning TikTok because we're saying China is a massive threat, why do we allow Chinese nationals to own land here? Chinese entities buying farmland has even happened in my state, by the way. Agree. I think the response is probably going to be China could do more harm to America on the psychological side than they could do with just plain material. Because honestly, what would they do if we said, nah, fuck you, we're taking this land over? I mean, what are they going to do? See what I'm saying? Whereas intellectually, if they can get an entire generation of people to think a certain way or to adopt certain ideas that are not good for them, i.e. you can eat as much as you'd like, and that doesn't mean you're unhealthy, and if your doctor tells you you're unhealthy, he's fat phobic, like that spread like wildfire over on TikTok. So I see it from both angles. Obviously, from the intelligence side, I'm going to always, oh, that's a big danger. You know what I'm saying? That's an ad hominem argument. What's an ad hominem argument, Igor? What's the ad hominem argument? Was it an ad hominem argument of you like going after the entire Christian community in America because you think that Trump is a fascist, like that kind of ad hominem, or what? The verse is about who gets into heaven. Jesus is saying a camel is more likely to go through the needle than the rich people entering heaven. Basically impossible, but also faith in Jesus also saves someone. Huh? The verse about who gets into it, Jesus says a camel is more like... Okay, so there's a rich guy. Rich guy goes up to Jesus and says, good teacher, what should I do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus says, sell all you have to the poor and then come follow me. And the guy says, and the narrative says, and the man went away very sad because he had many riches. And as the guy's walking away, Jesus says, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter into heaven. And then the disciples said, well, if this is the case, who could be saved? And Jesus responds by saying, with man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. And then Peter says, Lord, we've left everything to follow you. And Jesus says, yeah, I know, and you're going to be rewarded at the resurrection of the just and everybody else who does the same thing. So I don't think that's really a contradiction at all. What Jesus is saying is that it's hard for a rich person to enter into heaven because they're more connected, they're more attached to their material, and the people who get to heaven view Jesus as the highest prize. And so if you have a bunch of material that you view as more valuable than Jesus, and obviously from a human perspective, you'll never get in. And that's why Jesus says, with man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible, because God gives us the grace to overcome our attachment to material. So that verse answers itself, like right in the passage itself. Good question, though. If you are a small publisher that wants the American market, you want to stay in America. What happens to your country will happen to mine, so why would I want this to play out? Well, Morbid Angel, what happens in our country also affects what happens in Palestine, And a good thing just happened in Palestine, but to this moment, you and the rest of your friends can't seem to celebrate it. And I'm wondering why. Especially considering it was you and your friends that were doing all the tear shedding over the Palestinians. It's almost as if you didn't really give a fuck about those people, and you were just worried about who was in the office and who was getting the credit. That's what it looks like to me. Circular logic, that's 2 ad hominem responses in a row. Well, you know, Igor, what you can do is you can actually come on if you want. Let's me and you can have a discussion instead of posting all these vague responses. Like, me and you can actually talk. So if you have a problem with something I'm saying, like, let's me and you talk face to face so that everybody can learn. That way nobody will be deceived by my ad hominem and all the rest of it. He's gonna clean up a few things to get you like him some more, but be careful. I don't want it too biblical. You don't want it what too biblical? I assume the verse comments on the nature of rich people rather than the set rule. The nature of rich people is to be selfish and reject charity. Their own behavior will deny them entry. Is that right? Well, it's more of what people call salvation, or even like if you look at the language of like make it to heaven, like it's something that you attain to. Jesus didn't say like you attain or you earn heaven. He says it's harder to enter into the kingdom, which another phrase for that is it's harder for them to come home. In other words, a true believer is someone that believes God is the greatest value in their life. Over your wife, over your kids, over your material, over everything. He's the greatest value. Well, obviously, the more things you have in your life, the wider the gap is between you and Christ, and the harder it is to get to that point where God is your ultimate value. And so Jesus is saying, from a human perspective, it is impossible for these people ever to be saved, ever to come home, because their value, they have so many obstacles to overcome to see Christ as their ultimate value. And that's why the disciples said, well, if that's the case, nobody can be saved. And Jesus didn't say, oh, no. Some of you are better than others. What he said was, you're right. With man, this is impossible. With God, all things are possible. So that's what he's saying there. Good question, though. Is Bitcoin the future now? I don't know. I don't know enough about Bitcoin to be enough. Kamala being the worst candidate to prop us up cost her like 100%. She was literally, I used to say that Hillary Clinton was the worst candidate, but she was literally the worst candidate ever. Ever. Because she didn't win a primary. She did not earn the vote of the people. And yeah, there was some funny business going on between Clinton and Bernie Sanders, but at some level you could still mount an argument that she went through what she went through and that she got selected. And Bernie was pushing for her as well. That's not even what happened with Kamala. She was just inserted in there and we were told, this is the one that you want. Get out of here. Insane. Insane. Morbid, I'm never going to block you. I just don't know what you're saying, bro. Like, I don't know what you mean. Because like I said, you guys were talking, you guys were talking all type of stuff about Palestine. You guys are crying with me. But y'all ain't celebrating with me when the Palestinians got some relief. I think that's strange. I also think that's really, really telling about who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. The hypocrisy of this system is beyond belief. If a citizen is found guilty of one felony, they can no longer vote. Yet if you're found guilty of over 30 felonies, you could be the president. Trump is the first convicted criminal to become president in history. Impeached twice and was able to run again. This needs to stop. These two things I printed shouldn't be allowed to happen. Well, King Igor, why shouldn't they be allowed to happen? Why shouldn't they be allowed to happen? Says who? I think you're right. I think denying a felon the ability to vote is BS and unconstitutional. And I think somebody should put should put up an amendment here and say, hey, we just had a felon run for president, but he wouldn't be able to vote for himself. Does that make sense? And I think you'd be able to have a really easy time in the Supreme Court to make that argument. But I don't know what else you're saying. The other stuff doesn't make any sense to me. Like, you're making a great argument for why felons should be able to vote. What's up, Blandon? You're making a great argument for why felons should be able to vote. You're not making an argument as to why he shouldn't have been able to run for president. I'm a felon. I vote. All right, Gravity. I'm with you, baby. I'm with you. Must be confronted in the next 4 years. Check out the article. A creature like Donald Trump family member slams inauguration as a dark day. Yeah, I know about Donald Trump's like niece or whatever. I don't really care what she has to say. I'm just dealing directly with what you said. What you said was that he shouldn't be able to run for president because he got impeached. That's nowhere in the Constitution. So I'm trying to figure out where your logic is coming from. What's your logic? I don't think you shouldn't be allowed. You should have to pay more to go out. If you offshore, then you have to pay. Agree. The current structure that we have incentivizes taking jobs away from Americans. It rewards jobs away from Americans. And if you know anything about running a business, your labor is always your heaviest cost, and it's always a thing that you want to eliminate or make the least of because you want to keep the most of your money. God bless you all. I have to go. Yes, I'll be gone again in 10 minutes. Biden stayed awake during the entire inauguration. How? What did they give him? I mean, it was earlier in the day, and from what I heard, he doesn't react. All the symptoms happen at night. Like, I'm not knocking the man. I'm just saying, like, literally, that's what everybody's saying. Is Kamala Harris to the DNC what Dylan Mulvaney was to Bud Light? I felt terrible for Dylan Mulvaney when all that shit happened. I feel like Kamala deserved what she got. I don't believe that Dylan Mulvaney deserved what he got relative to Bud Light. And I also thought Bud Light was extremely cowardly for abandoning him the way they did as well. I thought that was really terrible, like all around. Of course, they're a company, all they care about is money, but I thought that was pretty low for them to do. 5 minutes, guys. I wouldn't be surprised if she drinks actual blood. That's terrible. Who are we saying is a blood drinker? Y'all are special today, boy. You guys are special today. Yeah, I didn't see a stitch of the actual inauguration myself, but you know, I've got my eye on Russia, Ukraine. He promised us that he'd get Russia, Ukraine solved, and so that's something I'd like to see. Blandon says he or she is glad Trump is in the House. Well, I mean, look, if it's between Biden and Trump being in the House, then obviously Trump has already proven that he's a better president because he stopped the Palestinians from getting eradicated. You know, I had all my left-wing friends use terms like genocide relative to what was happening to these people. But the way that the left has reacted to Trump getting this thing done does not communicate that they really believe that those Palestinians were undergoing a genocide. I would have thought that if a people were undergoing genocide and somebody stopped it from happening, that they would have been dancing in the streets in America on the left. But there wasn't. And I got to tell you, that, to me, is very telling. It's extremely telling. Extremely telling. King Igor says, I think you're a shill. You didn't read it at all, and you twisted what I said again at the same time, stating what I meant briefly. okay, I'm a shill. Well, why don't you just come on and talk then? That way you can make your case without me like misreading what you're saying. What's one thing you wish the right would understand and one thing you wish the left would understand? I wish the right would understand that people are always, 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 always more valuable than capital. And anytime we talk about sacrificing people for capital, they're always wrong, 100% of the time. And I wish people on the left would treat all human beings equally. I wish the left would say, if you're a human being, you're in the family and we're going to protect you. So I wish all right-wingers would value human life above capital, and I wish all left-wingers would just value all human life, period. Good question. Good question. Yeah, Ben, the easiest way to communicate to Applejack or me is just get him the numbers and the data, man. You know what I'm saying? He's not saying that your experience isn't important. I mean, I can't talk for him. But what's most convincing to people like me and him is just the data. If you get us the data, then we're going to go with wherever the data is. You know what I'm saying? Vin, what can the U.S. do to bring the radicals of both sides back to the middle? I think Trump has done a masterful job of reading that going on shows like Joe Rogan and Aiden Ross would be more effective than knocking on 10,000 doors in Pennsylvania. And I think all he has to do is apply that same logic to bringing the country together. So, for example, why not have J.D. Vance and AOC be on the Joe Rogan show together, where they could respectfully, with a guy like Joe Rogan who's looked upon as a moderator, respectfully go back and forth with each other, and AOC can show the real heart behind her mindset and the Green New Deal or whatever, and JD can say, look, I got a bunch of sexual assault survivors telling me that this dude in the bathroom with the 5 o'clock shadow is triggering their PTSD, and you're trying to tell me that that's not important. Like, I think if we got in a situation where we could have these discussions in a respectful way on a show like Joe Rogan, it could bring the country together and people could go, well, oh, like the biggest, I watch a lot of anti-Trump media, whether it's left or right, because I've been so confused at all the Trump alarmism. Like, to this moment, I don't get it. But one of the things that they said about when they knew that Trump had won the Joe Rogan sweepstakes was he said, it killed me watching it, and this is what he said, because when you look at it, you go, oh, that guy's not Hitler. That's what he said. Like, watching Trump for 3 hours just shoot the shit with Joe Rogan on like a regular, whatever, you really got to see him. The takeaway was, oh, well, that's not Hitler. Like, he didn't do anything great. He didn't do anything spectacular. But over 3 hours, you get to really see kind of what we're talking about here. And obviously, Kamala couldn't do that for obvious reasons. But I think AOC is somebody that could hang for 3 hours and give enough charisma and things like that to where people would be able to look at her and say, oh, she's not an insane communist trying to destroy the country. Because there are really people who believe that AOC is like this terrible communist with designs. Just like there are weird people that believe Trump is a Nazi and he's, like, and then when you watch him on Joe Rogan, you're like, oh, he's not a Nazi. When you watch AOC on there and she has a conversation, she starts talking to you, or Bernie Sanders was a great example. When Bernie got on when Bernie got on the Rogan show, it was completely disarming. It was, now I'm not gonna lie to you, I was already in the Bernie camp because I had already seen the interview with Killer Mike. But when I saw him on Rogan, again, it was one of those, oh, this guy's not talking about a communist revolution. He's just talking about getting people health care and 1% Wall Street and speculation tax, no problem. Oh, okay, this isn't crazy. So, like, I think, like, a show where both of them would go on Rogan and it would dispel all the bullshit propaganda. Trump is not a Nazi. None of his, like, ridiculous. And the same thing with AOC, and it's the same thing with Bernie. Bernie is not trying to bring some communist fucking revolution to America. He does not hate America, yada, yada, yada. I think that if Trump spearheaded that would go a long way in bringing Americans together, because they would see that the people that they're supposed to hate and fear, and then the millions of people they represent, are not what they've been told that they are. So that's what I think Trump could do to bring the country together. But both sides have to be willing to have that dialogue. It's obvious that I meant it needs an amendment. It's hypocritical. Government should be able to do these things that citizens can't. That's fascist. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that everybody interpreted it that way, that that's a law that you would change. So how is that distorting your argument? What I'm saying is, no, it shouldn't happen that a guy can't vote for, that a felon can't vote. And I agreed with that. What I disagreed with was that a felon shouldn't be able to run for president. I disagree with that. What I said was, you're right. And so we don't need to stop the guy from running for president. What we need to do is allow the felon to be able to vote. So how is that a distortion of your position? Vin, I got a question for you. What do you think about the whole Tesla thing for me? I'm glad he shut that down. Okay, what about the Tesla thing do you want shut down? So who's feeling great again? I don't know. I'm not feeling great myself. I'm a little bit under the weather. But other than that, I'm good, I guess. Ben, why don't you just correct what you said? I mean, we know Applejack's an honest actor, right? So just correct what you said and just keep it moving. Don't sit there and waste time about dumb details. You said the thing, you said it. There's a screenshot of it. Move on and go to the next point, bro. Because I actually think your guys' conversation is pretty interesting. Y'all are getting somewhere. Just stay up on the up and up, Ben. That's all I'm saying. I'm sure I missed all the juicy topics already. I mean, I don't really know. You know, I don't know if there's if there were any real juicy topics. We talked about Mexico for a while. Right now I'm trying to figure out, there's one guy on here that really doesn't like me, so I'm trying to figure out like what I did to him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to figure that out. But yeah, everything's going here. If I were to be my most generous on not celebrating the ceasefire, it would be that it's been such an ongoing atrocity for these people that it's by no means over and you can't afford to cut an inch of slack. I agree. I agree with that. I am not under any impressions that this is going to be like a permanent thing and that Bibi's not going to do something evil and horrific and Nazi-like. I agree with that. But you know, I mean, there's no way you can look at those Palestinians celebrating like that and not, you know, shed a tear, man. I got kids and it's just not fair, man. My kids don't know and will never know the fear of a bomb taking you out. You're like, I wish that Americans were able to see and hear and smell the aftermath of one of these attacks. just for 2 minutes. Just for 2 minutes. The way that we are just so dismissive of human death and destruction in this country is insane to me. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. I don't think felons should be allowed to be president, but the majority seem okay with it. Yeah, I have no problem with a felon being a president. Not at all. Not at all. Because if you look at the racial ramifications of what that means in this country, that's an easy way to stop whole groups of people from ever becoming president. I don't need the government to have more motivations to go after people. I'm not a big fan of the police state. Vin, what do you think of the idea that Batman is the villain because he uses his wealth to fight crime and beat up poor people and mentally ill villains, but doesn't donate it all to the poor? First of all, I'm not one of these criminally insane people, okay? I think Hitler was absolutely crazy, and I also think if he didn't put a bullet in his head, somebody needed to. So, the whole criminal insanity thing to me is complete and total bullshit. That's one. Two, we don't know if Bruce Wayne is not donating to the poor. We just know what he does as far as fighting crime goes. Secondly, the Joker is not poor. Neither is the Penguin. Like, all the main bad guys that Batman fights are all mega rich. That's how they're able to come up with all these horrible things that they do to the city. So, I get it. I did like the Bane character in Batman because of the whole, eat the rich versus capitalist thing. They wasted about 15 minutes of that movie on Catwoman and her suit or whatever. But I really would have wished that there was that conversation because it was post 2008 Occupy Wall Street America. People were still feeling the effects of the housing crisis and things like that, and so you really could have had a discussion on the interplay between economics as well as policy and things like that. But it's all good. Bane is my favorite Batman character for sure. If we're going to be hypocrites, I'm for felons to vote over gangsters to be president. That's not a police state, that's common sense. Well, again, Igor, if you say that felons cannot run for president, right, and I don't want somebody to run for president and I'm a corrupt judge, I can hit them with a felony and charge them for it, right? And now that's a person I don't have to worry about. So I'm not a fan of giving the legal system, especially as a black person, I'm not a fan of giving the legal system any more motivations to go after people. So I agree with you, Igor, that it's wrong that felons can't vote, but the solution is not to say they can't run for president. Anybody should be able to run for president. If the person is a felon, I am sure that the people that are running against him will let the community know that the person is a felon. But then it's up to the people to decide whether or not they want that felon. And it seems to me the people that keep talking about freedom, etc., keep wanting to restrict the ability for people to elect their own leadership. And they don't see the contradiction. I see that as a contradiction. You mean like how they trumped up the felony charges on Donald? Correct. And I also mean the Russiagate stuff, and I also mean the impeachment stuff, all of it. The DOJ, the use of the DOJ as a political tool to keep Trump away from people, to the point where right now I'm seeing all these Democrats talking about Merrick Garland, blah, 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 blah. You should have shut him down. Over the will of the people. Please note, Mr. Trump not only won the Electoral College, but he won the popular vote. He was the will of the people. And I would not want or support any law that would directly contradict and contravene the will of the people. If the American people had a choice between a convicted felon with 30 plus Fs and another person who was a cop who put people in prison and almost killed an innocent person. We had those two people to choose from. Kamala Harris did not let people go who the government wanted to let go because they were cheap labor for fighting fires. But because she was working with the right people, I put working in quotations, she never got held accountable for it. So you're trying to tell me that she should be able to run for president after doing all those horrible acts, but Trump shouldn't be able to? I'm sorry. I'm not with it. I'm not with it. Nope. Nope. You put the man's name, the man should be able to put his name in the ring, the woman should be able to put her name in the ring, and then the American people will decide whether or not we will forgive or not forgive you for your felony. That's my position. Felons can vote as long as they are not detained. It isn't illegal for felons to vote. I can vote. There you go. I was ignorant. We just learned something. But yeah, I gotta be honest with you guys. I was always confused when the Democrats would bring up how many felonies that Trump had. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? Who cares? Nobody cares. At all. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. And I believe that a detained felon should still be able to vote. If you're an American, you should be able to vote. Period. I think, if you look at who gets arrested, who the police go after, if you look at who gets classified as a felon versus misdemeanors, etc., who gets records expunged, yada, 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 I'm not with that at all. At all. And somebody should come up with a bill and call it the Trump bill. Because how in the world, think about it, how in the world could Trump or any Republican right now argue against it? This is actually one of the best things for the rights of felons and misdemeanor committers is the fact that this guy got into the office, because now you have an airtight constitutional argument. So if one of y'all would just stop complaining, oh, he was in prison, and actually write the verbiage for a bill, we could get that passed pretty quickly. But instead, we're sitting here whining and complaining about the fact that the DOJ methodology of stopping your political opponents from being able to run for office didn't work. Because we all know that that's what they were doing. Good night. And look, we all know that that's what was happening. We all know that that's what happened. We all know that that's what they were doing. We knew it from the beginning. Some of you guys truly believed in the Russiagate nonsense. Some of you guys truly believed that Russiagate was a thing. You really believed it. Okay? But for those of us who didn't, we had to sit through 4 years of that nonsense. You know what I'm saying? And there was nobody held accountable for it. I would just like to get that temptation completely out of the minds of these people. Like, look, even if he gets a felony, he'd still be able to run for president. So let's just try to come up with policies that'll beat him instead of trying to get the cops to beat him. Right? And then when that didn't happen, Mr. Trump was almost assassinated. Unbelievable. All right, guys. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and then I'll be out of here. Let me put that clock up in there to show you guys I'm serious. This ain't a joke anymore. This ain't a joke, dear listener. This is not a joke, and it's not a test. This is real. Hold on. My comment section thingy has been frozen, so I haven't been able to see people's commentary. So don't be angry at me. Be like, oh, he's not answering my question. Shout out to Vin, who called Russiagate from the jump. I did not call Russiagate from the jump. It took me a while. I'm not going to lie to you. But eventually, I was able to see through it, and I found out that Russiagate was BS. I'm very, very proud of myself for that. But yeah. Morbid Angel says, don't put words in my mouth, Vin. What words did I put in your mouth, buddy? What words did I put in your mouth? So is the 82nd Airborne dropping in the... Hey, shout out to the 82nd. I had a friend that actually had to jump into Panama back in the day. He was a mentor of mine. Vin, I just answered your question about Tesla. Let me go and try to find it. Because that is something I want to look for. Hold on. Where did he say? What's his name? Haddon Blandon? Let me go to Blandon. Ask my... like, he shut it down. That means no more Tesla, no more electric vehicle. Whoa! Okay, so Elon shut down Tesla? Like, permanently, or he put it on the back burner? Did he permanently shut it down, or was it on the back burner? Yeah, the first couple streams, I was kind of like iffy on Russiagate. My problem with Russiagate was that it was so crazy to me that I was like, they have to have something like pinned down solid. Like, it can't be that they just made this whole thing up because they didn't think he was going to get elected. Like, I couldn't process that at all. So initially I was like, there's no way, they got something. But then Rachel Maddow had this big, like, reveal thing. And I remember I was watching it and it was nothing. And I was like... Then Chuck Schumer got on and he said, if you fuck with the intelligence community, they've got 6 ways of sundown from messing you up. And I was like, oh my God. So after that happened, I started to get very, very suspicious of the Russiagate thing. And then, I don't know if it was you or somebody else had me watch something on fire, like Ukraine on fire, something like that. And then it was over for me after that. I was over with the Russiagate stuff after that. Trump shut it down because he wants more gas vehicles, and I agree with that. CEO Elon Musk has definitively shut down speculation about the company's long-rumored $25,000 traditional electric vehicle, marking a strategic pivot towards an all-autonomous future for the EV. He did not shut Tesla down. Yeah, I'd be pretty disappointed if he shut Tesla down. And I'm also... I don't understand the hostility toward... electric vehicles. Like, isn't it better we have electric vehicles instead of gas, for the the pollution and all that? Like, why would we want to, why wouldn't we want that? Why would we want gas powered vehicles instead of electric powered vehicles, like, for the climate? Later, Kirby. Yeah, guys, I was supposed to be gone 10 minutes ago, an hour ago. We're talking about government power, not citizens. Trump has proven time and again he is a fascist. All government is corrupt. Not just the police. The ethnocentric race card argument is very self-serving. Better you than me. See you 4 years. No, Trump has not proven that he's a fascist. Mr. Igor, if Trump was a fascist, he would not have vacated Pennsylvania Avenue when he lost, right? If Trump was a fascist, there's no way that Joe Biden would have been able to take the country over from him. He would have had him killed. That's what fascists do. I don't understand this. I don't know where you guys. I don't know what you guys are doing, to be honest. The fascist thing, and I don't know why you guys keep saying it like it's not effective, because it's not true. And I gotta tell you, Igor, you want me to support the Biden-Harris ticket. It would have been a better world for you if Biden and Harris won. But it would not have been a better world for those Palestinians if Biden and Harris won. That by itself is enough for me to say that Trump has already been a president much better than Biden before he even said one day in office. That's how much Palestinian lives matter to me, man. You have other concepts and things that are important to you, and I'm not going to say you're a horrible person because other things are important to you, but for me, human life and flourishing is primary. So there's that. On top of that, I'm extremely happy that I don't have any more Palestinian blood on my hands today. Because my country funded those murderers to the tune of billions of dollars. And I believe that we're going to have to answer to God for that because we're a democracy. This was not some crazy dictator who went out and did this to people. These are people that we put into power and kept in power. And we saw it happen on live TV. I believe there's a God in heaven, and I believe I'm going to have to answer for that. You got a different set of values and beliefs. I'm not mad at you for it. You seem upset at me for having my own values and convictions, and that's okay. But for me, I'm very, very happy that today a Palestinian kid can go to sleep and not think that he's going to wake up to his mother's dead body tomorrow. Can you do these AMA streams earlier in the day? It's hard for me to stay awake until the end. I've been going for 3.5 hours almost, but yes, I will try to do them earlier. It would not have been better for the... Jesus. Is it really 1.7 million dead Russian Ukrainians? It wouldn't have been better for the 1.7 dead million Russian and Ukrainian people either if Trump lost. Jesus. The way that people are just... We just throw out these numbers, man. We don't care about human life at all, man. We just... Hey, yeah, Russians, kill them. Kill them. Ukrainians, kill them. I saw a horrible video a couple of weeks ago. And this Ukrainian dude had run up on this other guy, and you could tell the dude had no idea what he was doing. He put down his kalesh, didn't have it strapped, threw the grenade in there, didn't count off the grenade. The Russian dude that was in there, obviously he was able to get out of there in time. So these guys ended up in hand-to-hand combat. I got to see that happen, and it's an ugly thing, man. It's an ugly thing. The guy was. Didn't have his weapon on him, couldn't get to his knife in time. He said, I saw a broken shard of glass among the ruins. So he took the glass and started jigging the dude in the eye. All this is happening on camera, scraping the guy's face off. Went to the dude's throat, cut his throat open. And then the Ukrainian guy's at the bottom. He's saying, okay, you got me. Just let me look at the sky. So the Russian guy gets off of him. He's on top of him. And the Ukrainian guy's like, you got me. It's over with. Just let me die in peace. And, he said, I just want to go home and have a few minutes. And the Russian dude says, yeah, I want to leave too. And then as the Russian guy's leaving, the Ukrainian guy says, you're the greatest fighter in the world. You got me. Good luck. And then the Russian guy looks at the Ukrainian and says, good luck. And they parted ways. These are beautiful, honorable people. And like I said, I could tell by the way that Ukrainian dude was moving, that he wasn't no fucking soldier. He was some regular dude with a 9 to 5, and they threw a kalesh into his hand and arm and told him to go fight. So no, man, when I see 1.7 million dead on both sides, that's fucking bullshit. And when I see that my country went into the middle and stopped peace talks earlier onto this conflict so that we could bleed Russia, that's bullshit. And again, I believe in God. We're going to answer for that. These are some of the most greatest, most honorable people on the face of the earth getting put into a horrible situation because people in my country decide it's good to kind of fuck with these people so that we could stay in power. It's wrong. It's wrong. Jesus. I'm using the numbers I've heard today. 1 million Russians, 700K Ukrainians. Jesus. Is that true? I didn't know that. Wouldn't that be the equivalent of 10 years of Iraq? Remember though, it's a border war. It's a border war. Okay? It's a lot different from folks having to travel hundreds of miles to meet each other in the field of battle. I got friends in both Ukraine and Russia tell me that neither side wants to fight the other, that they're family and friends, that they have no Exactly. Those two guys, you know, the Bible says, men of whom the world was not worthy. Those two guys didn't want to fight each other. They didn't want to kill each other. The guy complimented him as he was dying, and the other guy said, good luck. As a matter of fact, he went into his kit to try to help him, and the Ukrainian guy said, man, just leave. He said, leave, because the friends are coming to get him. I wasn't here by myself. These people didn't want to kill each other. Yes, Putin. Yes, we forced Putin to attack Ukraine. Yes, Steve. Yes, we did. Yes. That's kind of what happens when you're a hostile nation and you start dumping all of your ICBMs, all the old ICBMs that you don't need anymore because we've got other kinds of weapon and we want to offload them at cheap, you know, on the cheap. And we put that on the Russian border, and the man was begging us for 10 years to stop doing that? Yes. Steve, you look like you're old enough to remember the Cuban Missile Crisis. Do you remember the Cuban Missile Crisis, Steve? You remember that? When the Russians started setting up ICBMs over there in Cuba, what did we do? Did we say, hey, you guys have the right to do that? That's cool. No, we said Monroe Doctrine, we're about to light up the entire planet if you don't get those fucking ICBMs away from here. From Cuba. That's an island. Not our border. Ridiculous. Americans love this shit, man. Americans love the hypocrisy. You love being able to live in a place where Canada doesn't have ICBMs pointed at you, where Mexico doesn't have ICBMs pointed at you, where Cuba would be terrified to do so. We love that. But then we're telling Russians, oh yeah, go ahead and have we're going to put that shit right up to your border and there's nothing you can do about it. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. At what point is all the aid only prolonging the suffering of millions? Without it, it would have been over by now. Correct. Correct. It would have been over by now. It was going to be over in the first month. Steve Sandcrab, go ahead and Google Dennis Kyrieve. Our country has been actively fomenting and perpetuating this war. That's not even a question. It's not even a question. Google claims Ukraine has only lost 40,000 soldiers. Well, I don't believe that Ukraine has only lost 40,000 soldiers. I don't know about 1.7 million. That's a lot. That's a lot. But, I mean, honestly, for me, one is too much. For me, one is too much. It's just terrible. Those people should not be in that situation. That's fine. Look. There are people that believe that Putin is using is using the U.S. and NATO as an excuse. The only way you can prove that is if you take away the excuse, and we have never taken away the excuse. Therefore, the argument cannot be made because you don't have an example of him doing that without that excuse. Americans don't understand. We intimidate everybody on the planet. We have destroyers all over the world. Like you don't get it. You don't get it. We have people that live in absolute and total terror of us as a normal course of life. And finally, somebody said, I'm not going to let you do that to us. Why did Muammar Gaddafi die? Why did Muammar Gaddafi die? Good Lord. Trump is the one who said the 1.7 million number, but he didn't specify soldiers only. I mean, I don't know what the number is, but this is a horrible tragedy, especially those people, their family. They literally share the same DNA. I mean, there's a sense in which every war is a civil war, but my God, it's absolute insanity what we've done to those people, and for Americans to just be like, oh, we have nothing to do with it. Oh, we're the good guys here. Ridiculous. We're not the good guys here. We're the bad guys here. God almighty. And it's crazy to me. You got people that are talking about Elon Musk being a Nazi because he did this. Meanwhile, you got literally people advocating for us to give billions of dollars to literal Nazis whose parents were literally doing active pogroms against Jews in their country. It's insane. The way that you guys have been brainwashed by our government is crazy. God almighty. Ugh. All right, let me see. Here we go. Ukrainian forces, 43,000 killed, 370,000 wounded, 60,000 missing, 8,000 captured Russian forces, 700,000 killed and wounded, 198,000 killed. Okay, so we've got about 200,000 killed in total. Okay, so at least 200,000 people killed. We don't know about civvies and all the rest of it, but we know that it's been going on for 4 years and it's horrible and it needs to end. It needs to end, and it's going to end the way that Noam Chomsky and everybody else said. You're going to have to give up Crimea and you're going to have to give up Donbass, and I'm okay with them losing Donbass and I'm okay with them losing Crimea. I'm completely fine with that. I'm confused. What do you mean by let's take the excuse away? Russia has always tried to expand with or without NATO. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? When the wall came down, we told them we were not going to step 1 inch eastward. We have since expanded to 11, 12 countries east. What are you talking about? America is the one in the last 20 to 30 years that have been traipsing around the globe, fucking people up and taking their resources, bro. Not the Russians. We put weapons right at the border of Russia via Ukraine. We flirted with putting them into NATO, which brings hostility right to their border. My brother, Har Hemail, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to fuck with your name, but literally every expert in that area, Noam Chomsky, John Hirschmeyer, every expert will tell you the same thing. We are responsible primarily for this, and we could have solved this problem if we stopped intimidating the Russians. We are the ones intimidating them. When the Cubans came and started hanging out with the Russians and the Russians put missiles over there, what did we do, bro? You guys need to Google the Cuban Missile Crisis. They weren't even on our border. They weren't even on our border. Go Google it and see how we responded. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay, Igor, God bless you, bro. It's just, I've told you, if you want to have a conversation, we can have a conversation. You say things like 5-10 minutes apart. I'm trying to talk to everybody else. I have no idea what your problem is with me. You keep talking about straw men and things like that. I have no idea what you're talking about. You're saying ad hominem. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Nobody's come after you. Nobody said anything to you. Good Lord. I mean, how could we ever know like the exact accuracy, like to zero of the numbers? I don't think we can know what the accuracy of the numbers are. But the point is, all those people died needlessly, and they deserve to live a happy life just like all the rest of us do. And America, we just don't care, man. We just don't care, man. Fuck them. Let them do whatever they want. Let's just have the Russians. Let's just continue to incite these people. Let's destroy their economy, all the rest of it. For what? Unbelievable. What is this guy supposed to do? Yeah, come with all your weapons right to my border, and you guys have been nothing but hostile toward us. They try to join NATO, all that shit. We wouldn't let them. We want a permanent pariah over there. But now you're gonna say that all these dead Ukrainians and Russians are worth it for what? It's not worth it to me. Did you watch that video from Andrew Tate that I sent you? No. Because I generally don't look at my messages on X. I'm also done with Andrew Tate too. I hope they lock him up and throw away the key. I really hope they do. Vin, speaking of Cuba, Trump reinstated Cuba as a state sponsor of terrorism today. I did not know that. What's his reasoning? What's his logic? Vin, those numbers were given by the Ukrainian army. Even American generals know that those numbers are BS. I mean, I think everybody knows now anything that comes from Ukraine is by definition a lie. Right? I mean, come on. Well, if you look at the NATO expanding to east, it has mostly happened after 1999, and there's a pretty damn good reason for it. Most people in Europe are quite critical of NATO. I'm critical of NATO, too. I don't even want us to be around in there. I don't see the need for NATO anymore. I hope that that's something that Trump really was serious about. I would love it if we got the hell out of NATO. I'd love it. We should have been allying with Russia. Let them have their own little sphere of interest and pull them away from China. But of course we did exactly. So let's let them flirt with the Indians, and they can come up with BRICS so that we lose our hegemonic power in the world because we're so committed to fucking with Putin. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Russia has 3 NATO members right at its borders. There are Americans that honestly believe that Russia just needs to accept and pretend we're benign while NATO surrounds them. No, they don't want the Russians to pretend. They really believe that it's okay that we're surrounding these people with weapons because they believe in the goodness of America. So they don't even believe that the Russians should just accept it. They think that the Russians are lucky to be surrounded by their enemies with thermonuclear weapons. It's insane. But that's what they believe. It's insane. The guys in charge of Russia are old enough to remember the German invasion and the horrors that it brought. You should be able to understand their apprehension. You say a lot of liberals' truth mixed with a lot of right-wing dogga shill like pseudo-liberal manipulation. I'm just pointing it out. I got to tell you, Igor, I have no idea what you're talking about. You confuse me. I think what happened, Igor, is that you came in with an assumption about who I am. And then as I began to talk, all of your bloviations ended up looking stupid. And you're having cognitive dissonance about coming after me the way that you have. And so the best way for you to do it is to say, well, you're putting in some liberal things mixed up with right-wing propaganda. But you're not actually saying the specific things that I'm saying that's incorrect. So I don't know what you're doing, bro. I love you, though. I love you. No, you're wrong, Steve. You're wrong. You're wrong, Steve. You're wrong. Putin asked us for a decade, literally a decade. I can send you the videos. The man almost begged us to stop doing that. We refused to listen. We did that, Steve. There's a reason. I'm some idiot on the internet. Google Noam Chomsky. Google John Hirschmeyer. These are people who are... Hirschmeyer is an expert in the field. See what he has to say about it. Don't listen to what I have to say about it. I'm not an expert. I'm just some kid. Google these people. No expert on the region agrees with you, and all of them have predicted that Russia was going to do this. All of them, long before Putin even showed up in power. God almighty. Correct. NATO was a counter to the Soviet Union. One went away, that would be the Soviet Union, and the other became a bloated fist for America. Correct. And we would much rather lead with the sword than with the staff, and that's why. God almighty. Maybe the fact that we're playing with people's lives that's my problem. That is my problem. That's my main problem. Is that we're playing games with the lives of other people. We're talking about what other people should do with their lives. It's insane. And the craziest thing about it is that if Americans were the type of people, like for example, when the Cuban Missile Crisis happened, you didn't have a bunch of Americans hit the streets saying, no, do not threaten Russia with war. Don't threaten anybody. Don't defend us. You didn't have Americans saying that during the Cuban Missile Crisis. We didn't go to the UN for 10 years and said, please stop putting all these missiles within striking distance of our country. We didn't ask anybody. We didn't try to negotiate the way Putin did for a decade. We said, you have till this time to get that shit out of there or all of us are going up in flames. That's what we did. Americans are so hypocritical. Holy shit. Yeah, the fact that we're playing with people's lives is my major issue. That's the problem that I have. All right, let me see. What you sent me something, Applejack? Did you send it to me over Twitter? As a correction, his name is not John Mearsheimer, not Hirschmeyer. Or is it Hirschmeyer? His name is John Mearsheimer, not Hirschmeyer. Good. And he's well looking into all of this stuff on offensive realism, Russia, Ukraine, and the Israel lobby is great and super interesting. There you go. I told you guys I didn't know anything. There's the correction. Boom. It's John Mearsheimer, not Hirschmeyer or whatever. I hit the nail on the head. Fed. That's why you're projecting your insecurity. Who is this guy? I'm a Fed. I am actually no longer a Fed. So I don't know if that... But that's not... I mean, I'm not insecure about that. Most people that know me have put two and two together with that. That's not something that's been like a secret, but okay. Yo, who is this guy, Applejack? Oh, you sent to me a text? All right, good. So I should be able to bring that video right up. This King Igor person's a really interesting dude. Just asked Obama if he behaved. Just barely. Oh, shit. Deaf Girl, let's read Obama joking with Bush at the inauguration. He looked like he wanted it. One of my kids is talking to me about whatever. Hold on, I'm trying to. Hey, Jack, send that to me again, bro. Send it to me again, because I can't. I don't see the text here. Okay, I tweeted it to you now. All right, I'm gonna jump. All right, guys, I'm gonna jump on X. Because I'm going to get this video from Trump, and then I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to give y'all some of your time back. That's what we used to say when we want to get our meetings. I'm going to give your time back. Oh, man. Shout out to all these people, yo. Then I think Trump's reasoning with Cuba has to do with the release of prisoners and loosening of sanctions. Plus, it was something Biden did like a week ago. Wait, he did it a week ago? What Biden did? All right, hold on. Let me see. Hold on, guys. I got a message I need to check out because of the video. No longer a Fed. That means you're still a Fed. Where are you hiding the gray aliens and the reptilians? Yeah, I mean, I guess. I've been a free man for 6 years, y'all. So I don't know what this man's talking about. Hold on here. I got a is it in the Make Peace with the Truth thingamajiggy? No? Where is it, bro? Oh man, I gotta check my messages and email. Shit. Libs of TikTok messaged me. What's wrong with me? I need to check my Twitter thing more often. FBI or the American Stasi, you're a Nazi. I've never heard you admit it before. I've never been FBI. Never. I've never been FBI. And those guys are too boring to be the Stasi of anything, bro. Trust me. Those aren't the guys. Trust me. Those guys are... That's not constitutional. You can't do that. Blah blah blah. I wouldn't even get qualified in the pre-sec for those guys. Good night, Angel Sin. I'll be out of here too. I just gotta figure out. Where the what do you call it? Somebody sent me a tweet. Damn it. Oh, okay. Hit notifications. Here we go. Did Trump just expose Netanyahu and Israel's influence on American politics? Trump shared a clip of Jeffrey Sachs discussing how Obama and Netanyahu orchestrated wars by scaring the shit out of Americans. Oh my God. Oh, no. No. This is going to get its own show. Like tomorrow. This can't be a little thingy I say at the end of a 3.5 hour Ask Me Anything. We're going to have to sit and talk about this shit. Holy hell. Finn was much more brolic back then. Look at any old video. Yeah, man. Like I'm don't need it anymore. Yeah. Igor is one of the people that sends me an email after and goes, I actually like you. I just misjudged you, man. I didn't know what was going on. That's Igor. Yeah, as I said, I have never worked for the FBI ever. So I don't know what dude was thinking. Yeah, so this is a Jeffrey Sachs interview. Damn it, I should have been paying him more attention. Now I see why God wouldn't let me see it, because if I would have had that, I would have stopped everything I was doing and I would have went straight to that as a whatever. He was speaking to kids in Cambridge College. Unbelievable. Yeah, that was the one, right? With the thing where it said that Obama and Netanyahu were teaming up on the war stuff. Man, I'll tell you what, if you want to talk about like the biggest disappointment of all time, it's got to be Barack Obama, right? it's got to be Barack Obama's the biggest disappointment we've ever had as a president. Because I remember the context, man. You're informant slave, FBI, the Fourth Reich, and yet you're defending them. Well, I have people that are very close to me that are in the FBI. I don't know what you know about them. I don't know that you've ever worked in any sort of enforcement or intelligence apparatus in our government. So I don't know how you know so much about what they do and what their goals and aims are. But I've never, I don't come out and whatever. But anybody that's watched the channel for a while could know pretty much. Well, yeah, but. Yeah, it's funny too, cause when white people who feel like they're down with the struggle start getting comfortable talking about folks being slaves and all the rest of it, but yeah, man, yeah, Bush and Cheney, yeah, Bush was a Republican, and toward the end of the Bush administration. Pretty much all Americans were war sick at the time. We're done with war. We're done with Iraq. We wanted to get out. The economy was trash. And he ran on emptying Guantanamo, which I understand why he didn't empty Guantanamo. It's one thing to look at it before, and then you actually look at who's in there and what we're doing there. It's okay. But he did let some guys out of Guantanamo, one of which became the head of ISIS, another of which became... part of al-Nusra Front, not Jabhat al-Nusra, but al-Nusra Front, which was another one. Yeah, he was the biggest disappointment to me, for sure. FBI of the Fourth Reich, you're defending them. I've been targeted by them for decades. I find that hard to believe, that you were targeted by the FBI. The FBI... like any organization, does not have unlimited resources, my brother. And just like any intelligence or enforcement or intelligence operation, the people are the currency, and they don't have an infinite supply of people. So even if you had an infinite supply of capital, which they don't, but even if you did, the people are the operators and the operatives. So it's highly unlikely that the FBI have been looking at you for decades. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're some, maybe you're some super soldier or whatever. But, yeah. Obama may be most disappointing, but Wilson is untouchable as the worst. I agree with that. I agree with that. All right, guys, I will be back tomorrow or later on today, depending on how you look at it. It is 4:20 a.m. on the East Coast. I'm going to go take a shower now and set up some Fortnite. And we'll be good to go. Obama was... cold and calculating. The way that he did arithmetic and made decisions about certain things was cold and calculating. I will say that. But shout out to Igor, the big homie. Glad you were around. Glad you participated. God bless America. Literally, though, God bless Russia. God bless Ukraine. God bless the Palestinians. And break the teeth of the lions, oh Lord. I work 5 p.m. tomorrow for NBA security. I will probably set up shop after the game's over. Send me a text, bro. Of course, you're an informant. That's why you keep defending them. Who cares what you believe? Thanks for proving what I'm saying. All right, well, we'll let Igor or Igor have the last word. Shout out to King Igor. Much love to you, baby. What's up to everybody else? I guess the lesson here is love your neighbor. Okay, take care of each other, and yeah, stay safe, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. It's a new world. We're in a new country. Vin out.